Good night to everyone. Want to welcome you guys to the show. As you can see, I'm going solo for a minute or two, waiting for my main man, Mr. Sean Hall. He's not here yet, but I'm just gonna hang tight until he arrive. I'm pretty sure he's probably got some difficulties down in Barbados, where the weather is probably like 28 degrees or 29 degrees Celsius. And here in Toronto is a scorching 16 degrees Celsius, which I'm enjoying, by the way. What a beautiful day after such blistering winter, man. -4, -10. All the drama of winter. We getting really tired of it. So I'm just waiting for my main man Sean to come true. But the show must go on because the clock never stops ticking, and that's how we do it. I just want to say, last week's show was a really cool show, very interesting show. I'm sure people got to learn a lot about the ex-jockey and the businessman himself. Myself, I learned a lot from him, from listening to him actually, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot more stories out there. And the funny thing about it is that he broke Leroy Trotman's record, and that was like 3.5 hours. And the thing about Darwin is that Darwin said like he didn't even get started yet. Like he didn't get to say everything that he really wanted to say. And I was just cracking up inside because I thought, man, you went for a long time. But I really enjoyed the show. I hope you guys enjoy the show as well. And can't wait to speak with him again about his stories and about his journey coming from a teenage year as a jockey and through all the different strings of the horsemanship. Um, but tonight's show, we have another interesting gentleman, and I can't wait to meet him. Have him backstage, and we're going to bring him on in a minute or two. As you can tell, I'm just stalling to see my main man, Mr. Hall, is here, but he's not here yet. So, uh, I might have to go solo until I hear him. I hope he's okay in Barbados because sometimes you never know. Life is so short sometimes that strange things do happen. So that being said, um, my man Carlos Grant, trainer, Woodbine trainer, started in Barbados. Now he's here doing some big things. And let's welcome to the show Carlos Grant. Welcome.
Hello, hello. Good evening, Derek. Mr. Headley, how are you? Nice to
I
meet
am
you.
good, man. I'm good. Very pleased to meet you.
It's a pleasure to be on your show. And I just
Earlier
want
today I saw something on the chat, and there was a young lady who wanted to know if this Carlos Grant is the one who they call tallest, or they used to
yes, it
call
is.
tallest.
Yes, it is. That's me.
There you go.
That's
That's the
me.
answer, right?
Yes, that's me. Tallest.
Yeah,
Yep.
man. So I can see by the pictures that you are pretty tall. How tall are you, man?
6'4".
Wow.
Yeah, very tall.
So
Very
I guess
tall.
you were never a writer.
No, no, no. That was never in my line. I always wanted to be a trainer, Derek, because my mom was about 400 pounds. My dad was a seaman. My dad passed away when I was 4 years old, and he was pretty tall. So that's where I get my height from. So going to the track, Derek, I started at a young age, around 8, 9 years old. I used to go there with my nephews and a lot of other kids. There's 7 of us in the household and a million more that my mom raised. So we always go in these guys go in the paddock, like the bottom paddock, and they play cards and they play dominoes with Harry Swear and Van Boy and those guys. But I never really was into the top paddock, which is the Dalkeith paddock, until one day my good friend Sylvester Olivier, he's who got me started. Hats off to him.
You know what
You know?
I could tell? I could tell like from judging from the guys who were on the show earlier, like all you guys are well connected. Uh, all you guys seem to have a story, or you kind of cross paths before, or something. And it's good that you guys are able to like kind of like work together, kind of, you know.
Yeah, well, Sylvester Olivier and myself, we go way back. My mom and his mom were best friends. So we are childhood friends.
Oh,
And Sil was working with a guy called Norville. And Orville was grooming for Mr. Charlie Heath. So Sil asked me one day, you want a lightweight job? Norville got a lot of horses. And I said, sure. I said, but I got to tell my mom. So that didn't sit well with my mom. She said, no, 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 no. But, Derek as a boy, what the outcome is. I'm going. But when I get back
exactly.
home, well, you know what happened? Clash.
Exactly.
So I started that, and my big sister, Lynn told mom, you know what? Mom, you gotta cut him some slack. He's not stealing, he's not doing nothing out of the way. He likes animals, and there I'm the only one in my mom family that came out like that. I
Wow.
I cannot do a 9 to 5 job. I cannot work inside. I have to be outside. So then my mom said, okay, if that's the case, bring this guy and introduce him to me. So I bought Norville, introduced him, and she said, okay, you could go, but make sure certain time you're out of here and get to school. So Norville took me under his wing. Dexter keep a good eye on me because he was like a family. He's a family friend. He kept a good eye on me.
I gotta
So
say, man, Dex is you talk about Dex. I know people didn't hear this conversation earlier, but I told you earlier that Dex spoke so highly of you, and now you're speaking so highly of Dex.
man,
And I met Dex several years ago, and he always was cool to me, and I like Dex. You know what I mean?
I looked up to Dexter, Van Boy, Rocket, all those guys. I come along as a little boy knowing those guys. And Dexter always had my back from back home till now. He still have my back. Even we were roommates. Then I move on. I got married, but we were just opposite one another. I'm in barn 12, he's in barn 26, and we just over the road from one another.
Nice,
So
nice.
Dexter dad, Mr. Graff, is like a dad to me. He took me in. Like when I first got my landed papers, I couldn't leave the country. I had no car or anything. And between Dexter and his dad, they took care of me because I was living in the dorm. Right?
Wow.
So yeah, so back to Norville. Norville took me under his wing, and he taught me a lot. And then one day he had about 7 horses grooming. But Mr. Heath had also a barn house. He used to sell feed and dog food and that type of stuff. And Norville was working there. So he told Sil and myself, look, I'm going to give you a horse to groom, and I'm going to give you a horse to groom. But we were too young to have groom license.
How
So
old were you at that time?
I was about 12, 13. Yeah, but he
A
said,
whole horse?
he said, you know what? What I'm going to do, I'm going to collect the money. His name is still down as the groom, but he paid us like the groom for taking care of the horse. And that guy helped out Sylvester Olivier and myself and then he still had a horse named Lily. And the first horse I groomed was a gray horse, came from Trinidad named Vast Ocean. And my first start with her, one of my best friends actually won for me, Anthony Turkey Husbands. He won
I
my
hear a lot
first
about
race.
Turkey. I'm hearing a lot about Turkey lately.
Man, he's a good guy. He's a good guy. I will walk the earth to help Turks. He never leave me out of nothing. He always come and look for me. If you don't see me, he always calling and checking in on me. He's naturally a good guy. He's a good guy. He's a no-nonsense man. He don't put up for foolishness, but he's a good guy. So after that, then I got familiar with the barn and had some good guys, some old guys, Mark Taylor, Susie, a whole crew. So those guys used to keep us straight. So after that, then I decided to get my education. As my mom said, straight. There's no place in this world for a stupid little boy or girl. And
Wise words, man.
when Derek, I live by my mom's words every day. Even up to today, if I thinking something, I could hear saying, "You don't think that, Mom? How you know what I'm thinking? I born you, you know." So, and it is a situation like Norville. After Norville helped me out, I continue working there with the old boys and whatnot, and then they give me another horse to go for Cow Williams. And I was so fussy, Derek, because every Friday evening, Cow Williams come in the paddock, all the guys sitting down, whether you're a groom or hot walker or whatnot, and everybody get $100. So from the time I get that $100,
most importantly, right?
yeah, as I get that $100, Derek, I run through the back gate and straight home and give it to my mom.
You know, for a minute, I forgot how fast people grow up in Barbados. Like,
yeah,
you gain that responsibility so early.
Yeah, they grew up fast because, as I told you, my dad died when I was 4, and my mom had a million of us to raise, and every time someone come, I don't know, she had a pot that never had an ending. The bottom of the pot never end, Derek. Anybody come off the streets, Mom got food there for them. You know, it was my mom and my uncle. That was the mom and dad I knew. And my uncle, they live next door. And they take care of us, take care of a lot of other people's kids. So then I set the common entrance. After that, I went to Princess Margaret. And one of the things that really, really hurt me was time the head teacher, I got school late, and the head teacher, he penalized me. He asked me, Mr. Fair Archer, why are you late? I said, well, I am in the paddock with the horses trying to make a little living because I sent school myself. And I helped my mom put my sister over me through school because I am the last of 7. So it was tough. My mom sell pudding and souls. My mom sell sweet bread. My mom sell food just to get us by, right? So that we could have a proper life and a good education.
But, you know, I don't mean to cut you off, but, you know, I know you told me earlier you can't talk as long as Leroy Trotman, but I'm sure you could talk a few hours tonight or a couple hours.
Yeah.
But, you know, but now I just want to, before you go into that next story, I just want to ask you this, because, you know, the perception in Barbados, especially Caribbean in general, for a guy who's like light skin or something, right? So visibly you're a little bit light skinned. The perception is that you got something. So you ever like seeing your mom, how she hustle and stuff like that, you know what I mean? It's always a big respect. And when I talk to other people from the Caribbean and stuff like that, you know, people don't realize what people are doing in the background to make their kids get to where they are, where they're going. They just assume because of whatever reasons, right, that things are good for everybody. But I'm glad you shared that. I'm glad, because there's a lot of people that don't realize the amount of work, especially our moms and our parents, got to put into this thing to make things work for you. Go on, man.
I can tell you, Derek, moms are made special. Believe me, moms are made special.
That's right.
And I'm a person, if I hanging out with a person and they disrespect the mom or the dad, I don't want nothing more to do with you. That's me. I all for my mom, right? So I went on to Princess Margaret, and I was about 15, Derek, and one day came home and my mom called me. I said, oh Lord, what do you do now? What do you do now? But she didn't have the belt nor the tambourine rod in her hand. So this time I was cool. So she took me in the bedroom and she said, sit on the bed. So I sat on the bed and she looked at me. She said, I want to ask you for a couple of favors and I want you to grant my wishes. I said, okay. So now, Derek, I'm puzzled because I said, well, I was 15, I was the last. I got other siblings bigger and older than me. Why me? So she said a couple things. I want to die in my bed at home. I said, okay. So now I started to get scared because I thinking, well, my mom's sick, right? She said, another thing I want you to do for me, don't let nobody cut off my feet. I want to dance to my Jesus. That's all I'm the way up to heaven to my Jesus. I said, okay, next. She said, I need you to take care of your sisters for me. She said, no matter who come into your life, always born with your sisters. And if they cannot accept your sisters, let them go. And you know what, Derek? She was right. I'm the person that buried her. Told my sisters back home, Cheryl, Jackie, Marva, they all chip in to help. My sister Ione in the States, my brother Lonnie, they all chip in to help from over there. But mainly Jackie and Cheryl, Lynn, they do the bunch of the work. Like Lynn would take care of her during the day, and Jackie would take care of her during the night. And I make sure that they're taken care of. I make sure every year 5 or 6 barrels going home. I make sure that money is there for my mom. You know, I get all the medication and everything from up here for her. And it's such a funny thing, Derek. When she started catching Alzheimer's, she only knew me as boy. And whenever she wanted to see me, she go on a hunger strike. Derek, she would not eat.
How difficult was that for you, man?
Man, it was hard. Many nights I lay in my dorm room there and I cry. It was hard knowing that I could not be there, right? Because I love my mother and my dad. There's nobody that could tell me anything about my mom.
Right.
And when my mom wanted to see me, she go on a hunger strike. My sister called me. I talked to her. She eat a little bit. Derek, I used to be home, Dexter would tell you 4 times a year. I got to get on a plane and go home.
Wow.
From the time I get there then and she see me, first thing she say, boy. And I sleep in the bed with her and she eat clean. And then when my sister passed by, she started letting out her tongue at my sister and winking her eye. I see you too smart for me, but I got to go back to work. You know?
So, you want her boy beside her side, man.
Exactly. So I came down, I spent 3-4 days and then I took off. I said, Mom, I got to go. I can't be doing this. I got to go. That's so then I took off and went back to Canada. And every winter I come home, I spend with her. So then I decided, I say, you know what? I see in these ads on television about picking tobacco in Canada. I said, Mom, I want to go up to Canada. She said, you sure? I said, same time the horse thing came around. And I was already in the process of doing the tobacco. So I said, let me try the tobacco. And then, big mistake, go to the horses after. So I did the tobacco. When the tobacco finished and the apples finished, I came over to Woodbine, met my friend Smiley. And took me to meet this gentleman, Jake Nemeth. Nice guy, nice old guy, crusty as ever. So he did a contract for me. And again, you know, I got to thank Ricky Griffith. Sorry, but I got to thank Ricky Griffith for opening the doors to help us. And another gentleman that everybody seemed to forget about that helped us a lot is a gentleman named Mr. Stephen Edwards. He was a trainer, and he did a lot for us when we got here and to get us here. And I take my hat off to those 2 gentlemen. You know,
how important is it for you to remember those guys, knowing that there's so many Barbadian horsemen now at Woodbine, and I'm guessing compared to leading up to that point, it probably wasn't that much, or maybe there was, but what is it that you guys got to thank Ricky so much for? You want to elaborate a bit on that?
Well, there is the opportunity. You know, if Ricky didn't make that move and Mr. Edwards wasn't working, I think Mr. Edwards was the head of the Hall of Fame or something like that, probably we will not be in Canada. You know, we'll all still be at the Garrison. And I take my hat off to the Garrison. I love the Garrison. I prefer to watch the Garrison races than watch Gulfstream or any of them. I just love the Garrison. And I owe my whole life to the Garrison Savannah. You know? And those guys always stand out in my head because they make a way for me to provide for my family. They give me an opportunity that, you know, I shouldn't be saying it, but I would have never had this opportunity in Barbados, you know?
We're gonna
And
talk a little bit more about that later because you're doing some really big things.
yeah, and it's so funny, like we came up in 89, the guys came in 89, I came part of 89, 1991. And directly last year we were up here. Well, we were young and 17 and just partying, having fun, never knowing anything about landed papers or getting yourself organized to stay in the country. And then reality step in. I went back home, waiting for my work permit. Jake called me, said, Carlos, sorry, work permit's finished. There, I feel like my whole world was caving in.
Devastated, eh?
It was devastated. I told my mom, I said, look, I'm going back up to Canada. She said, nope. She said, let me tell you something. You're not leaving Barbados a free man to go in someone else's country and run out like a prisoner. It's not happening. Right?
Unfortunately, that's a story for a lot of immigrants, you know?
Yes.
It happens.
She said, well, if it's for you, God can put it for you. Right? If it's for you, it will come back. Someday it will come back. So I accept the fact that can't go back. So I decide, you know what, Barbados is home. I can stay here still feeling bad. Every day get up and I tune in and I still try to watch the Canadian weather and see what's going on up there. You know, just having a glimmer of hope, you know, just a little hope. That
what time of the month was that, man?
Yeah?
You like the cold weather? What time of the month you looking at the weather? Like
I look at the weather all through. All through. I don't like the cold weather, but Derek, at the end of the day, bills got to pay.
Man, you got to do what you got to do.
It's a mind over matter.
Got to do what you got to do.
Yeah, mind over matter.
Exactly.
So I decided, I said, well, I went to the track and I was grooming a little horse there for a guy named Bess. And Derek, it was only about $60 a week. So in the process, Mr. Erlen Lord, he was one of the directors of the Turf Club. And what he did for me, he gave me the contract to paint all the stalls in the paddock. And I love painting. I paint houses back home. I paint all of Mr. Erlen Lord and Arna Allen apartments right to the top of Dalles Road, the top of Paddock Road. I paint his house. Then he had houses in Rendezvous I painted. And in between that there, I do about spear fishing, you know, to make ends meet, right? Try to help my mom and try to put food on the table. So then after that, I had just this one horse, and one morning I was washing my bandages and my saddle towels with my hand. And this gentleman came up to me. He said, what's your name? I said, Carlos. He said, I want you to work for me. His name is Mr. George Edgel. May he rest in peace. And he told me, he said, I got horses coming in. I want you to work for me. The way I see you washing those bandages and saddle towels, taking care of this little horse, I need you to be a part of my team. So I said, okay. He bought in about 5 horses, Dancing, Grey, Lady of Capri, and I ended up grooming them. And me and Mr. Edgel built a relationship out of this world. And don't you know, Mr. Headley, when I told my mom told me, I want to meet him, bring him here. And when Mr. Edgel came home at my mom, Mr. Headley, they told them stand up and hug up one another. I didn't even realize that was my father's best friend when my dad was living. Believe it or not. That was my dad's best friend. And my mom knew it, but she never said anything to me, right? And that bond became so strong with Mr. Edgel and myself. And we had a lot of horses. We won a lot of races. You know, my good buddy, Pochi Lopez, he was the jockey for my stable. And he won a lot of races for me up to this day. Me and he's still buddies up to now.
Pochi Lopez?
Richard Pochi Lopez, yeah. He was a very good jockey. Man,
this was in Barbados?
Yeah, in Barbados. If that guy was light, he's galloped for Marquess. You know, if he was light, I I don't think there's none of them could cool his heels.
Mm.
Very strong rider, good rider, got a good head on his body for riding horse. So Mr. Agile and my mom, hit it off right there and then. And then they explained to me, oh, this was your dad's best friend when he was living. I
Wow.
said, wow, it made my eyes open. So then the stable started to grow, and I had to, history repeating itself, I had to turn around then, and I had to hire two lightweights because I had
Mm.
too many horses. Like how Norville had me and Sil, I hired a little guy named Ryan to call Paul again, another little guy named Bubbles, I hired them. And I took those guys on my wing. Then Mr. Edgel had a horse, bringing this imported horse. There were two imported horses. And one was for a gentleman named Mr. John O'Brien. And I could tell you that is the man that really set the trend for me.
Mm.
He set the trend for me. He took me under his wing like I'm his son. So they had another little horse named Distracted Bob. And my good friend, you should know Peter Gaskin, my
Mhm.
good friend Peter Gaskin, every summer he would bring his son to Barbados, Tyler Gaskin. He was a good jockey in Fort Erie, he's a valet.
Mhm.
And I had this one little horse called Distracted Bob. And Tyler would sit down there every morning from 6 o'clock till when I bring down this horse at 9:30 just to get on it. And when he get on it, never walk it. Would show him how to hold the reins, what not, what forth. And Peter thanked me. And I said, Peter, let me tell you something, man. Anytime I get back to Canada, I see them cannons that they got up by the defense force. You got to get one of them to blow me out of Canada. I ain't leaving. I ain't leaving. I tell him so. I said, Peter, you got to get one of them to blow me out, man. If this opportunity ever arise again,
So this time you were working with Edgel,
Mr. Agile, I was working with Mr.
and
Agile.
so what happened with that relationship with you and Carl?
Well, Cow had a couple horses with Mr. Agile also, so we continue on. And then Cow started to phase off with the horses a bit, and Mr. Agile picked up other clients. So Cow then decided, well, he went to other trainers, went to Bill Marshall and those type of people. So we still had one or two horses. Liz Dean had a couple for him. But
Mhm.
me and Cole was still, Mr. Williams was still good. Every time he see me, he would still come and give me a little tickle, a little $150.
It was good. It was good training too, right?
Yeah.
Good.
He
Yeah,
said,
good to get you
go,
started.
go buy a drink. Go buy a drink. Right? And, so me and Mr. Agile, we went a long way. We won a lot of races. And then he took on a horse for Mr. Edwards, Richard Edwards. He was kind of the owner of Bigby Supermarket.
Mhm.
So then a horse named Donna Lydia. And I was grooming that for a while. And then Mr. Edwards asked me to work at the supermarket. So I told him, okay, and I work in the vegetable department for about a year and a half. But I didn't like it because every time I'm looking at my watch, I want to get out to get in the paddock. So I said, this ain't for me, Mr. Edwards, sorry. So then I leave there, and then Dr. Gus Reeder, he offered me a job at his clinic. Not a guy, not a gentleman that, man, he's phenomenal. Him and Roger Paris, who was a jockey hubs. They taught me so much about animals and horses, and not only horses. When you're working with Dr. Reeder, it's cats and dogs and everything in the clinic you got to learn about. So it was
Interesting.
overall something. And I remember times my sister always talk about it and laugh. Like we had a dog at one time and it needed 24-hour care. And I put the dog on my bicycle and ride it home. And I take care of that dog all through the night and then go to the paddock, put that dog back on my bicycle in the box and ride it right back to Lower State.
Since you mentioned that, I gotta ask you, do you find that you have to be like very like an animal lover to really, be involved in this sport? You know what I mean? Because you can't just jump and work with the horses without actually having a love for animals. I always hear the stories of people who got like goats and sheep amongst the horses, and stuff like that. How important is that?
It is very important. Well, my mom, we had a lot of sheep, we had chickens, everything. And I just grew a love for animals. And most of the times I find, like, even with the sheep that we had, anytime I'm angry or like if I get a good whooping from my mom, I just run and go in the backyard and sit in the sheep pen and talk to the sheep. And they just look at me, and I I I get some sort of comfort there. And it might sound strange, And then then
Maybe
I
to some people,
yeah, and
maybe to me too, but
then I got in yeah, then I got into the dogs. I had about 25 pit bulls, and
oh wow,
I'm an animal lover. So
yes, yes.
with the horses, I eat, sleep, breathe horses. Everything I have in my life is through horses, right? So after that, I was working for Mr. Gus Reeder, and I worked for him for about 4 or 5 years. He helped me out a lot, get tractor license, taught me a lot. And then I said, you know what, I had enough up here. So then Mr. O'Brien, that was working, that had horses with Mr. George Edgel, he bought a plantation house at the top of Mosaic Street in Guinea Road, named the Summit. It was Jonathan Simpson, and there were Jonathan Simpson and Angela Simpson that owned Simpson Motors was raised.
Mm-hmm.
So when he bought the house, he said, Carlos, I got to bring a contractor to paint this house. I said, no. I said, I'm going to do this house myself. Derek, I skinned all the walls because it was limestone. I skinned all the walls and I sheetrock them back, and I put something called glaze, and I paint the whole house. I did the whole house myself.
Just all by yourself?
All by myself. And then in between, I had 2, 3 horses for him. I cut grass and everything. And what I love about Mr. O'Brien, when I first went to work with Mr. O'Brien, he said one evening, he said, Carlos, you know what? I'm going to tell you something now. You're riding a bicycle. I say, yes. He said, don't let 2 years come and you're working for me, you start riding a bicycle, or you're going for around me. I said, what? He said, if you are riding a bicycle within the next 2 years, you're going for around me. Because I am not keeping nobody around me that's not looking to improve their life. So I said, okay, boss, I got you. And within a year and a half, he sold me a Mazda van. And I had that Mazda van till when I was ready to come. I get the opportunity to come back to Canada, and I worked for him. And we had a nice horse, Russian Tsar. And one day I leave work, and when I got home, my mom told me, she said, I got something for you. I said, what? She said, this is a phone number from Jake. I said, who? She said, Jake that you used to work for in Canada. He said, call you. She said, he asked you to call him 10 o'clock in the morning. I said, 10 o'clock, I'm leaving home. Derek, I was running down that clock, man, from the night before. I just
seemed
want to...
like you was always a hustler though. Like you get things done, get going, man.
Sitting around don't get you nowhere, Derek, man. Sitting around don't get you nowhere.
How important you think that message should be told to youngsters? That
they should always be told. Sitting down gets you nowhere, and I prove it because I shouldn't be saying it, but a lot of the good Barbadian grooms that are back in Barbados now, there is laziness. I don't care who get vexed with me, but it's laziness that have them back in Barbados right now. Okay? Because before they had the English exam, all of them should have get the act together and get the landed papers. I did it.
So hang on, before we go any further. So because of contractual purposes, that's why a lot of guys left, because they couldn't stay.
Yes.
And I'll tell you, for example, I got a cousin who's, I don't know if he's a groom still, but it was the same for here, same for him because I remember he was working here at Woodbine many years ago, and then one day he told me the same kind of story, like things not working out for him. So, anyways, keep going, but I feel you.
Yeah, but you can't sit around like my mindset when I leave Barbados after I get this call from Jake. I called Jake the morning at 10 o'clock and I said, "Good morning, Jake." He said, "Hi, Carlos. Nice to hear you." I said, "Man, God is good. I tell you, he answered my prayers." I said, "What's up?" And the first thing he said to me, "Say, you married?" I said, "No." He said, "You got kids?" I said, "Nope." He said, "You got a woman?" I said, "Friends." He said, "What are you waiting for?" I said, "This phone call for the last 12 years. I said, when I leave Barbados, the only thing I leaving behind is my mom and my sisters. I ain't leaving no luggage. Too many women in Canada." So,
So I still don't get it. What was he trying to get you here for? He was trying to arrange a marriage for you, or what? What was happening?
no, he wanted me to come back and work with him because I worked with him in 91, right? And he really liked how I worked, right?
Right.
And Derek, I never talked to him in 12 years. I never spoke to Jake in 12 years. And out of a clear blue sky, when the contract opened back, he sent back for me. So I called my friend Peter Gaskin and I said, "Peter, God is good, man. Guess what? The contract open and I get a work permit to go back with Jake." He
Beautiful,
said, "Good."
man.
So as soon as I leave Barbados, the same horse Garrison Savannah had an injury, and the vets in Barbados could not really find out what it was because he had a spill on the top turn in a big race. And Mr. O'Brien said, "Look, I'm going to get you a visa. I'm going to send you up to Nolan Hotel with this horse, and then you take him over to Canada and see what you could get done with him." So when I got over here with him, I met Dr. Darrell Bonda through Jake.
Mm-hmm.
And Dr. Bonda came and he watched the horse, he chugged the horse. And then he said, "Okay, no wrong with this horse. Bring him down to the clinic tomorrow." Directly took the nerves out of his feet. He had to denerve him. When he fell, he said he damaged the nerves in his feet. And, he didn't win any races up here, but he ran second, thirds in good races, good money races, 32,000. He ran second in the British Turf Classic at 99 to 1 with Shane Ellis. And yeah, he did good. And then we sent him back to Barbados as a stallion.
Well, that's a name I
And
haven't heard in a long time. Shane Ellis.
yeah, Shane Ellis. Yeah, he won a couple races for me too.
Hmm?
And the horse went long back to Barbados as a stallion. My friend Rocket, I went back to Barbados actually grooming. My friend won a race with him, and I leave and came back up and leave him with my friend Rocket. And Rocket took care of him until we sent him to stud. So when I got Derek back here to Canada, I was talking to Jake in the office one morning, and he said, "Carlos, what's your plan?" I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "What are you looking to achieve in life?" And Jake was a crusty old guy. And I said, "Jake, I want to be a trainer. I want to be a trainer just like you." He said, "Well, I'm going to stop you there. You want to be a trainer like me, but don't be a drinker like me." I said, "No, no, 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 no." I said, "No, I ain't going that road." And one morning I was hearing over the PA system that was paging about this groom school. And I went to him, I said, "Jay, what about this groom school I hear?" He said, "You know what? That's a good thing you should join." And it teaches you the anatomy of the horse. It teaches you the lameness, the rule book, the drug book, the different type of drugs. And with the drugs, you got to know, like, they got a drug named Ventaplumin. That's the bar name. The real name is clenbuterol. Then you got to
I've heard that
know,
before.
yes, you got to know what it does and how it affects a horse. Withdrawal times, everything is like a 2-year course you got to complete in 12 weeks. So I did that. The class started with about 35 of us. And when it came down to exam time, there were only 3 of us in the class. Everybody else quit.
Wow.
So Yeah, when I joined it, it was $75, books and education free. And a couple guys told me, I heard you going to the groom school. I said, yeah. Oh, that's hard. That's hard. I said, you ever do it yet? No. I said, well, don't talk to me. I said, how you know it hard?
How
Oh, I
long was
hear.
it for? Like how many
Pardon?
hours? How long was the school for? How long you had to do it for?
12 weeks.
12 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I said, you only talking, but you never do it. You're hearing people saying, I say, unless you walk in a man's shoes, don't talk. If they do the course and you tell me it hard, then I would say, okay, but Derek, this is something that I want. And
Exactly.
I don't care how hard it is. I'm going to achieve my goals. I set boundaries, I set goals, and I'm going to achieve it. I want to be a trainer. And as long as God give me health and strength, I'm going to I'm going to get there because I'm looking at the bigger picture. My mom always say, Carlos, and she tell all of her kids, never play to win the battle. Always play to win the war. The war is forever.
Very important.
Keep your head above the water. Always be respectable to your elders. Never look down on no one. Be humble, or life will humble you. And I always keep those things. So Jake now told me that's a good idea. So then he said, Carlos, you'll be okay. He said, all the guys from Barbados like you. I said, what do you mean? He said, ask a lot of questions. I said, he said, but I like it because you're willing to learn. I said, yeah, I want to learn. So he said, and Derek just stick in the back of my head like glue. He said, Carlos, always remember that Jake tell you, anything you're doing in life, whether it's horses, whether it's driving truck, whatever it is, there are only two success in life. It starts with two P's. I said, what is that? He said, proper preparation. He said, when you start with the two of those, you're on the right track, the right trail. And Derek, that's sticking in my head from 91 to 2022. I never forget
Wow.
that. I never
Wow,
forget
man.
that. And
That's some
that
great
was,
advice you had along the way, man.
yeah, I had good people backing me. And I always lean to older folks. I don't know why, but I always lean to older folks.
But
I don't know if
older folks
it's
got a lot of wisdom. It's just
a
that,
lot of wisdom
sometimes they
and
get right
knowledge.
off.
Exactly. And one day I asked Jake a question and I said, well, that's a stupid question. He said, there's no stupid question in this world.
Absolutely.
He said, you want to learn? Ask me.
Hmm.
I'll tell you. And at one time I was grooming 12 horses and he was grooming 24 horses. And Derek, at that time I was only making $250 a week.
With
And
12
now I hear,
horses?
yeah, now these groom and we had a racetrack called Greenwood. You know Greenwood racetrack downtown. So
Yeah.
you got to truck it from Woodbine to Greenwood, and you ain't getting back to 2 o'clock the next morning. You live in the tack room, and then you got to catch the first van back down Friday if you're in the first race Friday. And now, these grooms don't making a lot of money. They're making way more money. They live in the dorm, and everybody still crying, but I understand things change. Every price is going up and everything. But at the end of the day, people looking at it as you got a horse, or he's running for 100,000, so you could pay him more money. Yeah, you're running for 100,000, but there are going to be 12 other horses in the race running for the 100,000.
So
You
I'm
guarantee.
guessing from like you being a trainer now, because I know you haven't gotten to that part yet, but
Yes.
you being a trainer now, you can see the overall picture, the
Picture.
overall scope of how this business is broken down. And do you
Exactly.
feel like sometimes getting those guys to that point where they can see the bigger picture, that's probably very important to these guys to know even before they start working for a trainer, right? Because
Exactly.
the longer, in the long haul, things may work out better for all you guys, right?
Yes. Well, you know, they don't see they don't see the business part of it. They only see the sport, right? And my wife, thank God for her, I used to carry the same mindset like back home. And she straightened me out quick. And she said, well, this is like, you got to learn the business side of it. It's not only in the stall. You got to learn source deductions. You got to learn WSIB. You got to learn everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is the part of the business like they don't understand. They just come and, oh, I want you to pay me $900 a week. Not realizing that $900 a week is really 12 or 1300 I got to look for because I got to pay source deductions. I got to pay WSIB on top of it. And then on top of it, they want big stake, when the horses
Mm-hmm.
win. So fee gone up, everything gone up, right? And I'm a man, I try to treat people fairly because Derek, I was a groom, become a trainer, and I'm still a groom. I am still a groom.
So before you get to that point, I want you to work your way to how you become the trainer you are. I know you did the
Yeah,
groom
I did.
courses or class.
I
So
did the
work your
groom
way to
school.
that point so people understand the kind of road, kind of path that you took.
Yeah, I did the groom school, and I did not go for my license right away. I took 3 winters because it was a lot of education to absorb.
Hmm.
I took 3 winters, and every winter I go home. Instead of going out, I just sit in the patio by my mom's house, and I go through my notes. I read. I try to do it the best of my ability. So then my trainer Jake, he was kind of going downhill, and he was forgetting entries and that type of stuff. And my father-in-law was the owner of the horses, and he was it's business. At the end of the day, it's business. And he was a little tough on Jake. And I said, Jake, you know what? I want you to teach me the condition book. And I want you to show me what races you want to put these horses in. He said, okay. So we sat down. He explained the races. He explained everything. You put this horse here, where to put it. He said, okay, Carlos, we're going to do this, this, this. He took me to the track. He teach me the poles. He teach me how to clock horses. He showed me certain things. And it helped in the long run because he started like going senile. And many times I said, Jake, we got entries. You enter yet? He said, no, no, no. I said, go and enter, go and enter. We can't miss this race, And I had his back there because he did so much for me. He took me from Barbados and bring me here. And I said, you know what? This is a relationship with Jake. Now, this is the death door part. I'm going to be here for you no matter what. I had ample opportunities to leave him. I had people come and offer me $600 and $700, $500, way more money than Jake was paying me. And you know what? I look at them and tell them, I say, you know what? I'm happy here. I'm happy here. I said, I'm not coming to work in your outfit. And then, no, I'm not happy. I said, this, you know what? None of you guys didn't even thought about bringing me back to Canada. And after 12 years, this old man bring me back. Why should I turn my back on him? I said, I
Wow,
believe in loyalty. And I'm
that's
not
big.
leaving him until he dies. That's the only
That's
time
big,
I'm going
man.
to leave him.
That's
And
big.
that is the time that I leave when Jake died.
Mm.
So when Jake died, then my wife, there was a guy named Hugo Taffy trained for a year. He was an exercise rider. And then my wife now, she took over and her dad. And I was the person that knew how Jay operate. I knew the training and everything. So I knew everything about the barn. So when my wife took over, I said, well, look, this time we had about 32 horses. I said, well, I can show you guys how we operate, how Jay operate. But at the end of the day, this is your horses. You could do what you feel like. But I'm going to show you our program. If you want to stick with it and be successful, it's up to you. My wife never trained a horse, right? My father-in-law, he was in races since the 50s. He who started Caribana here in Canada. He's the founder,
Oh,
right? Mr. Ron Delmas, right? And my wife took over. Then she started to push me. She said, I need you to go and get your assistant license. At that time now, they started to crack down on the paperwork. You got to advertise this, that. I got my landed papers, so I was good. But then I went forward. I did the test. The pass mark for the groom, for the assistant trainer is 75, and for the trainer is 92. Derek, I got 98 on both papers.
well done,
I got
man.
98 on both papers. You know, when I saw the results, I sat down and I cried. I said, God is good, man.
But
God is good.
it's funny you say that because when you really want something, you will make it happen.
You make it happen.
But
There's
even
no
if you have
stopping.
even if you have failed that, you would have tried again.
Oh,
You
yes.
know,
I did
mean,
going all out.
there's no stopping.
No, full speed ahead driver. No
It's
stopping.
like adrenaline. When you got the adrenaline, you just keep going.
Exactly.
That's what I feel happened in your situation. You just had to
Yes.
get it.
And Derek, I looking at the situation with my family back in Barbados because I want to make sure that they're well taken care of, knowing how hard things are back home. And now I get this opportunity. Man, I'm grabbing it with both hands and both feet.
And the
Right?
thing that I was thinking about as you were telling us that story of Jake and so forth, and he started going senile. I couldn't help but think about your mom when you said the same thing.
Same thing.
And I'm pretty sure for you're probably saying, here we go again. You
Yes.
know, those
Yes.
those things are always tough. When something
Always
like that
tough.
comes up,
Seeing
right?
it a second time come around again.
Yeah,
And it touches people that close to you. That is the
yeah.
thing, right? The people that's most close to you is who they really touch.
It's
So
difficult when you know someone for all your life, that strong, good talker, and everything like that, and then all of a sudden they can't remember nothing.
that's my
They
mom.
don't know who somebody
That's
is.
Jake.
Yeah.
Correct.
Anyways, you continue, man.
And Jake then he went down the hill when my wife took over. My wife pushed me. She said, listen, we weren't together at the time. She said, I need you to get your assistant trainer license. You have to go and get it. So I got 98%, took out my assistant trainer license. Then me and my wife got together. And in 2010, my wife got pregnant. 2009, my wife got pregnant with our son. And we got married in 2010. And then she said, you know what? I'm going to back out and I need you to push your career now. I'm going to back you. And Derek, I'm fortunate, I'm lucky, but God is good. And I will keep saying it. God has put people in your life for a reason.
Absolutely, man.
For a reason.
I
And
know that
Derek,
firsthand.
the whole Delmas family, my wife, her mom, her dad, there was nothing that they had was never too good for me. Whatever I suggest, we sat down, we suggest things. Well, my wife, my father-in-law, they would say, well, Carlos, you was with Jake long enough. In a situation like this, what Jake would do. And I say, well, he would do such a thing, or let's try it that way, right? If it worked, or we try another direction, right? And I started to, started to feel so comfortable there. You wouldn't believe it. And in 2012, my wife said, Carlos, go get your license. I went in now to the HPPA and I went to the lady Corrine. I said, Corrine, I got the letters and everything. I want to take out my trainer's license. And very nice lady, she said, Carlos, you sure you're ready? I said, yeah, I'm ready. Because this is something that Jake been prepping me for years.
Absolutely.
Anyway, I went in and she told me, you got to go to Mr. Nick Gonzalez and see what he say, if you got to do back over the exam or not. So Mr. Nick Gonzalez and his wife Martha, they were like mom and dad to me also. And Nick told me, he said, no, 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 no. You score higher than the marks, man. You draw by. I said, really? See, you don't have to do anything else. You get 98. The pass mark is 92 for a trainer, 75 for an assistant. So he signed the paper and he gave me to take back the HPPA. And when I got licensed then, there it was like golden, like I win the lottery, man.
So what's the highest mark someone can get for that exam?
100%.
And you got 98.
Yeah, I got 98. I got 98 on the drugs, the rules, the drugs, and the anatomy. I got 98% on both papers.
Pretty good.
And I kicked myself because I should have had 100% on both. I mark an answer and I scratch it out. I mark another one, and the one that I scratched out was the right one. So I kicked myself for that.
That always get you, man. Your first
Yeah,
instinct, go with it.
You know? Yeah. First instinct.
And you second guess yourself, and then that's what happens.
Yes, myself. And then my wife told me, all right, you get your license now, you're going to start transferring the horses to your name. This time, Derek, I got 32 horses. I got good help. I got Chubby, I got Hobbs, I got Eric Clark, I got my boy John, I got a Jamaican guy named Hobby, I had Willie Hart, I had good help from Barbados. And we were kicking butt here and Fort Erie. I had 32 horses on the mic here. And my mother-in-law loved grays, so the stallion was a gray, so we had nearly 32 gray horses. It was crazy, you know? And we were just between Fort Erie and Woodbine, So that's where I started the training. And then my wife leave me on my own. But on the business side, anytime anything arises, I just call her and say, well, look, Annalisa, you know, this now happened. How do I approach the situation? Because now this is not Derek taking care of horses. This is treading different waters.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
In a situation like that, I'm going to seek help. I'm not ashamed to tell you I don't know something.
But before you go on, let me ask you this here, man. Real talk. How important is it for any man to have a good woman beside him?
Boy, they're hard to find, and when you find one, you gotta lock her down. That's all I could tell you. Make sure you do everything to lock her down.
I love it, man.
Because behind every successful man is a successful woman.
Absolutely, man.
And you know, even if it's a situation arises that, you know, things happen, nothing is perfect, Derek. Nothing is perfect. And you know, me and my wife, we live like sister and brother. We live like sister and brother. There's nothing that myself or my family in Barbados don't want that she don't be willing to put forward to help me and my family back home. My mother-in-law, the whole family, you know, my father-in-law, he's from Trinidad. My mother-in-law, she's from Panama. So we still got the Caribbean blood in it right through, right? But they're born in Canada. And when you find somebody that's good to you, you gotta try your best, man. You know, you gotta get the small mind out of your head. And as my mom said, you gotta forget sow all your wild seeds when you're young and move on with your life. But when you find people that is good to you, good people is hard to find. Very, very hard to find, believe me. And when you got that type of support, and as I say, I was very, very lucky. I was lucky. I feel like I had horseshoes up my butt, Derek, honestly speaking, because it's a situation like I could have gone anywhere, Derek. Honestly speaking, I could have been back in Barbados the same way as everybody else. But when I leave Barbados, as I told Peter Gaskin, you got to get a cannon to blow me out of here, man. I ain't leaving. You're going to take me out in a box. I ain't leaving. No matter what, I can make sure I secure. And now, Derek, I'm a Canadian citizen.
But I got to ask you, though, because, you know, like in the earlier days, you know, there's a lot of guys from Barbados who say, like, they may care they will go back home.
I heard all those. Yeah,
but for you, you had a different take on this. You wanted to
Yes,
get out.
yes, I wanted to get out because, it's international. I want to put Barbados on the map. I want to make a good living for my family. I'm not going to be always 20 and 15 and 16 running around. I want that when I get a certain age, even if I'm working, I'm doing it for myself,
Is that
right?
certain age now?
Exactly. I see they had an old guy, Derek. They had an old guy I used to see working for one of the top barns. And up to today, he's sticking in my mind. I see he taking horses to front side race, and the horses walking all over him,
Hmm.
And I saying to myself, this can't be right. This gentleman is nearly 80 years old. And I say to myself, you know what? If I go be doing this at 80 years old, I ain't taking over a horse. But I'll be going over to saddling and I'll pay somebody to take it. But at the end of the day, it's my business.
That's right.
So that was the mindset that I always carried. I always say, my mom said, never follow a multitude to do evil. And anytime I am hanging out with people and I realize you aren't going away in life, I ain't want to be wrong you.
A real
I'm not.
talk.
I don't want to be wrong you because where are we going? Nothing from nothing. Derek leaves. Nothing.
Nothing.
Exactly. So I'm not going that road. So on my journey also, while I was training, my wife and myself, and I met this vet named Dr. Gus Reeder in Barry. So when I met Mr. Reeder, I met him once with Jake, and then we started going there frequently with my wife and a lot of horses we take there. Derek, that was my turning point of my career when I meet Dr. Gus Reeder. We were paying him for service, but in the interim, Derek, I was taking it all the knowledge that I could get from Dr. Reeder. When he said jog the horse, I stand up with him. I take a groom with me and I stand up with him and I watch and I said, Doc, what are you looking for?
Mhm.
And he would say, tell me which foot the horse lay him on. I said, the left. He said, no, the right. I said, how did you come about that? He said, just watch the nod of the head. And he was right, And this gentleman taught me, and he was not only in thoroughbreds, he was a standard bred guy. He had horses coming from all in Florida, standard
Wow.
breds, up to Barry for he to treat. This man was top of the line. But I always had a view again, like Jay, Dr. Rook is not going to be around forever.
That's
So
right.
I
Now
got to
hold
be
that thought. Hold that thought because we got a gentleman who wants to join us. Well,
hey, my brother.
I'm glad to see that you're pretty early, Mr.
How
Hall.
are you?
Thanks for showing up.
I'm sorry to be, I think I'm a little late, but better late than never.
A
Better
little.
late than never, my brother. Nice seeing you,
Little.
man.
Yes. Well, I guess I missed a lot, but continue, sir. This is your show.
So I went up to Dr. Rook, Terry Rook. Sean, we know Dr. Terry Rook and Barry.
Mm-hmm.
And in the interim, as I was saying to Mr. Headley, this gentleman was teaching me about lameness and, we paying him for service. But as I'm saying, I said, you know what? Back to Jake, Dr. Rook is not going to be around forever.
Mm-hmm.
I said, so let me be a sponge. Let me absorb as much education out of this gentleman as I can, even though we're paying him for service.
Right.
So I'm paying him for a service, but the amount of education I'm getting, I will have to put up too much money at Guelph University or one of those places to learn it. So then he asked me one day, he said, you know how to read blood? I said, yeah, if it go on my clothes, I could tell you it right. He said, no, I mean the horse blood work. I said, no, I'm not a vet. And he took me in his office with his wife, Ruth, and he sat me down. He said, listen, See all of these here? I'm going to write out on this paper next to the blood work what all of these are and where the number is supposed to be. So anytime I'm not around and you get a vet at the track to pull your blood, I just tell him bring it, you could read your own blood. He don't have to, he could tell you what he feel like, but you know different, right? And Sean, I could read all of my blood work, and Turks will tell you, Turks is bring blood work for me too. I could look at it and I could tell you what my horse missing, what my horse lacking. And I get up there at 3 o'clock in the morning, by 3:30, 4 o'clock, sometimes I at the track. And I don't leave there till 3, 4 o'clock on the evening.
That's a lot of hours.
I could tell you all through the day, as Leroy said, what my horse is doing when the groom's gone. But Derek, you got to remember, if I got to go and work for somebody, I got to get them 8 or 9 hours. So why should I cheat myself?
That's right. That's right.
The only way you could get success. That's the only way you could get success. You know?
And I tell people this all the time, you know. I said, guys like ourselves who work for other people, assistants, that sort of thing, we work hard for them. Why can't we do the same thing for ourselves and add a little more?
Exactly. You're absolutely correct. That's absolutely.
I'm really glad you guys are telling this story because I think it needs to be told, you know?
Yeah. Well, Sean will tell you, as a man, I go there. I got a hot walking machine. I got one exercise where they have 8 horses and it's my one. Time the exercise where they get there, I got all 8 stalls muck. Horses on the wall, temperatures stay. Because I truly believe in taking horse temperatures.
Especially in North America, I find
North America.
Yeah, North America.
When you got to changing,
get
sick very fast.
Yeah.
You know?
For everyone that who's not involved in horses, right? Because I'm not going to assume that everyone knows about these things. Talk a little bit more about the temperature and getting sick and so forth. How important that is with the temperature.
Well, it's just like human beings. When the weather change, things change. The only difference is we in the house with heat at night and we stay warm. The horses got a winter coat. Some horses could take it even with a winter coat. Sean will tell you, I had a filly, she have a thick winter coat and I had to put a blanket on her because she just stand up and shiver and shiver and shiver and shiver. And that is not good, right? Hypothermia. So the temperature part is a normal thermometer you use for a human being to put under the arm. We do it in the rectum and we do Fahrenheit and some
you do it in the rectum for horses?
Yes, some Fahrenheit, some Celsius, and you just got to know technology. So I know you, if you got one Fahrenheit, you just take your phone and transfer it to Celsius and see what it is, right? So I like to see my temperatures between 98 to 100, maybe 101, anything over that is trouble, right? I get the vet there quick, give some drugs and get the temperature go down. Give the horse a couple of days off till it catch itself, you know, back off of certain things you're doing, you know, just try to get the horse happy again. Because that's the key to people that talk about training. The key to training is keeping the horse happy. You know, it's the same way if you don't keep your wife happy, she's gone, man. She's gone. No matter what you do, she's gone.
How are you going to draw that comparison with your horse?
It's the same thing as horse. The only thing the horse can't talk and the woman could talk. It's the same very thing. There's nothing different. One got 4 feet and one got 2.
I ain't going to touch that one. I ain't leaving that one alone.
I'm telling you. And Sean will tell you that. You got to keep your horse happy, man. If you don't, happy wife, happy life. Right?
I think sometimes you got to keep the horse happy than the wife.
Exactly. Because he's who bringing in the money. And if you don't bring in the money for the wife to shop, you know what's happened to you. You're the doghouse, buddy. So don't even go here. You're in the doghouse. So you better keep that horse happy. Give as much mix and carrots and everything and green grass as you could. Get him running, you know? So that is how I train. I train different than a lot of people, a lot of trainers in North America. I'm a trainer. I learned from Jake Nemeth, and I always see Jake training, and he always tell me, Carlos, every horse is like a child. Every horse is an individual horse. Every horse is an individual horse. You cannot train all horses the same.
There's a question from one of the viewers asking you how many horses you got right now.
I have 8 right now. 8 horses in my care. So every individual horse I train different. You know, everybody's a mile and a half. Sean will tell you that is North America.
Do you remember your first win as a trainer?
Oh, yeah. My first win as a trainer, I was in Barbados, actually. I went to look for my mom. And my father-in-law, he was saddling the horse. And he says his win, a horse named Dainichi. And I went in the storage room. I didn't even pass the pole first. But you know what they say, Sean? An ugly win is better than a pretty second. I'll take it. And a little guy named Brian Sheen. And that was my first win. And my father-in-law said, no, that is my win. I said, no, I'm the trainer, man. My name down.
Which track was that? Which track was that?
Woodbine. Yeah, Woodbine. And from there just took off, you know. My father-in-law then trusted me. They saw the work I was doing with Jake and how I was there for Jake. And Sean know Jake good.
Yeah.
Sean know the character. And they know. Even my father-in-law told me, man, there's people here saying that they will offer you more money to come and work for them. I said, listen to me. Them could offer me gold in China. I said, I'm not leaving this old man. The only time I leave in this old man is when he died. I said, he could pay me 5 cents. This old man bring me back from Barbados when nobody else would even give me a shot. So why would I be disloyal to this man? It's not going to happen. A lot of trainers try to get me. And I said, no. I said, it's not going to happen.
But your journey, how has it been though? What does coming back to Canada do for you though? I mean, did it, I will have to say that you went, when you came, you were a little, you came in what year again?
I came up part in August 89. I came up from the tobacco field and then I came full time in 90.
Right. The second journey to Canada, that is the journey that really took off for you then.
Yes.
That took you to a different level.
It took me to a very different level because I came back to Canada with a different mindset.
Right.
A different mindset. I came back. And when I leave Barbados, I thank God for the opportunity. As I was telling Mr. Headley, Jake contacted me after 12 years. Me and Jake never talked, right?
Yes.
And I leave home with a mindset. And I told my mom, I said, look, this is another opportunity.
Right.
I said, I'm not coming back out here to suffer anymore. I want you guys to live happy. And I can make sure I do everything in my power to take care of you guys. You know, I was telling Mr. Headley, Sean, when I was 15 years old, my mom took me in the bedroom. And she told me straight, a couple of things I need from you. I thought I was in trouble, but as I told Mr. Haley, she didn't have the belt nor the tambourine rod, so I know it was good. And she told me straight. She said, Carlos, I want you to do a couple of things for me. I said, what is that? She said, I want to die in my bed. I want to keep my feet on. I want to dance up to my Jesus. She said, I want you to take care of your sisters, no matter who come into your life. Don't let nobody get between you and them. If you drink salt, let them drink salt too. I said, but Mom, why are you telling me this? I'm only 15. I got other siblings above me. She said, a mother does know her children.
Right.
And she was right, Sean. They taking care of all them now. They took care of her, bury her and everything, right? And it's so amazing how a mother does know who's going to be that one to step up to the plate. You know, there's 7 of us. She raised $1 million, right? So when I go back now to that situation there, Sean, I said, you know what, Mom, when I go back to Canada, first thing I want to do is get my landing papers. And then I'm going to become a trainer. I set a bar for myself, Sean. I set it high.
Of course.
You know, You know, I came back home many Gold Cups. Sean was even my boss at one time, Mr. Headley. We had a lot of fun. You know, we had 3 horses, Sean, myself, Sharpman, for the Gold Cup, Warley
Yes,
area.
yes,
And we
yes.
had a lot of fun. His dad come down on the evening. We had a ball, man. And since I got back to Canada, Sean, I decided to say, you know what? There's no going back home for me right now. My aim now is to better myself, help who I could help, because, you know, I had, like, when I used to come back home to what really ticked me off a lot is I would go to the track and not knocking anybody or anything. And I would see certain grooms doing certain things, and I would go and I would say, listen, you're doing that the wrong way. You're putting on that bandage the wrong way. And one morning I went down there and I saw a groom and I told him the same thing. And the man cursed me nasty. The man told me, because you went Canada, you think you know everything? So I said, yeah. I said, okay. You guys got a small mind, keep with the small mind.
That's I don't want to cross you, but I keep hearing this same story, and I know see Sean nodding his head, and he's like, yeah, you know, it happens. Uh, uh, how disappointing is that for you, Carlos?
Very disappointed, because I'm not the type of person that my mom raised me not to look down on nobody. You know, I never look at nobody that less fortunate than me. I treat everybody the same. You know, back in the days when I used to go home, I would buy 25 hats from the flea market, 50 t-shirts. And when I go home, I just go in the paddock and I give them to everybody, the old boys, everybody. You know, because you can never forget where you come from, because you don't know if you're gonna head back right there. You know, so you should always be good. As my mom said, the highest bird to fly in the sky is the eagle. You got to come to that ground to eat, man, no matter what. And the same people you pass on your way up, you're gonna pass it twice as fast coming down. So I always try to be humble. No matter what race I win or what, I treat everybody the same way. You know, I got security guards here at Woodbine. They just bring around new staff, and they call me, Carlos, can I bring them to your barn and show them? Because certain other people barns you can't go in, right? They get on like the own Woodbine. At the end of the day, the person that buy Woodbine dead and gonna leave it. You cannot know where you're going, you know. So why look down on other people? And that's how my mom raised me, you know, not to look down on other people. Try to help people, feel for people. And my father-in-law, when I met him, he the same way. Ron Damos was the same way. You know, you got to help people, and in turn, God will give you back what you deserve. You know, you get it back from God in a different form. And I think on my journey through life, helping people, being there for people, I give people my last. You know, I go out my way, if rain falling where you live, or I live in Finch, or I live downtown. Okay, get it. I drop you to Finch and then I go back downtown. Because when you look at it, I was fortunate to get a vehicle, but I put myself in the position to get a vehicle, right?
That's right.
You could do the same. But if you want to live that way, no problem. But if I can help you, I can still drop you where you got to go, right? Because one thing I don't like to do is see people at the bus stop in the snow and when it's beastly cold, right? So if it's someone I know, I pick them up, I bring them into work, I take them out, drop them off, that type of stuff, right? So you must always feel for people. Some of them take advantage of it. And you just know, because as the start with me, I done with you. You don't even know I finished with you. I got you got a clue.
But how important is it for you guys, especially, you know, you speak about that, about helping others and stuff like that, and the kind of work ethic that you got. Like, I know everyone don't have that. Everyone don't possess that kind of work ethic, right? But how important is that message to be sent to the younger folks to realize, look, if you really want to achieve something, you got to work really hard, or you got to really go after it in order to get it.
Well, there is two things. You either work hard for it or you end up in jail to try to get it. So It's up to them. Hard work never kill nobody. Never
I
kill
heard that
nobody.
before.
I just be there at the track.
Leroy Chapman that said that.
Yes, hard work never kill nobody. I just be there at the track from morning to night, morning to evening. And people just be telling me, you're not going to hire a groom? I said, why you hire a groom? What? I ain't crippled. I ain't to that stage yet. And as long as God give me health and strength, I can do it myself. I pad up my horses in the paddock. My good friend Harold get the values to hold them, I saddle them myself. I take them to the test barn. I do everything myself. You know?
So you do all that work yourself?
Yeah. If I'm in a state race and I got to get somebody to pad up my horse, I either ask Rocket and pay him, or Dexter or Basil or someone, and I walk over with the horse. Right? I walk over with my horse. You know, in the Queen's Plate, I was fortunate to get a horse in the Queen's Plate.
Yeah, and let's talk about that.
You know, there are much people that could say that they did that, but it was an opportunity and it presented itself. We bought the horse private, and he turned out to be a half decent horse. And my wife and my brother-in-law and my mother-in-law, they say, you know what, Carlos, we can put this horse in the Queen's Plate. And it so happened that Emma Jane was the jockey. The year before, we won for 60,000. He won for 95,000 on the grass. And Emma came. Unfortunately, he had a good shot of winning the plate trial, but Justin horse veered in and nearly threw Emma over the rail, and he get promoted to third. Then Emma had to ride for Gail Cox, which I understand because Emma and Mike Luda, we are very close. And if I give them my calls and they tell me, well, Carlos, I got to ride for Roger Atfield, I say, go, he got 62, I only got 8. And sometimes it turn around, I end up beating them. Right? And we have a joke about it. Like, I remember years ago, I had a horse named Stormy Romance, and Emma was to ride it. And Willie Tyrannus had a horse in the race. Willie Tyrannus got a lot of horses that Sean or Willie needs to be around Sean. And I put up this little girl named Katie Morrison. And when they swing for home, I told my wife, I said, Annalisa, this horse looks like she can win. And Emma on the inside, Sean, as we were called down and growling. And Katie passed her like a cowboy. 99-1. I mean. And next morning, Emma was at my bar, take up the stick and give me a lash. I said, well, you guys take the favorite. That must be the only race Katie Morrison went out with mine. 99-1, believe it or not.
Carlos, I gotta ask you about that. I don't know. I don't remember that race, but I gotta ask you about that. At 99-1, as a trainer, do you still expect your horse to win at 99-1?
You know what? If you do your homework right, 99-1, horses don't know the odds and they don't know how much they cost. Right. But if you do your homework right, and you know you horse ready, as Mr. Harvey tell you, odds don't mean nothing to me. It means nothing. I remember I won with a horse near Vendianza, 56-1. Sean, this was the Friday. The Saturday, I come and won the first race with Sky Gray at 33-1. The Sunday, I come and win with Alguambra at 84-1. The Wednesday morning, the stores called me in. Carlos. No, sorry, the Wednesday night, I won with Barchito with a little girl named Jennifer Reed at 99-1 too. So the Thursday morning, the stores called me in. Mr. Grant, explain the running of your horses. I said, well, I'll tell you something. If I could have explained the running of my horses, I would have got some condos in Barbados right now. We want me to tell you. So I asked them, I said, well, my horse is positive? Do I? No, but we need to know. I said, how could I tell you that? I said, well, you guys want to talk to my lawyer? So who's your lawyer? I said, my wife. They said, all right, you go. So I leave.
You know, I never knew that. I never knew that you would get a stern talking to if you win at 99-1.
Yeah.
You're
Sean
not
will tell you.
supposed to win.
No, Bajan boy, you crazy. Sean will tell you. You know? No. It don't work like that, buddy. So anyway, send me up the office now. I had 2 horses racing now. Alonia Chakra, the Thursday. And Optimism, both win. Sean, the Saturday morning, they came, they skin up my car, they give me a search warrant. They bring out the bottle, 3 big white tables, like they're keeping a picnic in my barn. Danny Vella, you know Danny Vella, Sean. Danny Vella came over, he said, Carlos, you need a representative from the HBP. I said, I don't need nothing. Let them look for what they're looking for. You hope to find what they're looking for.
Yeah.
So I had a lady there, and she's more like a man, and she started to want to rough me up. I said, hey, you slow down. All right? Because if I don't got horses here, you don't got a job. Okay? Remember, you work for me. We don't work for you. So you slow down. So anyway, they tell me they want all the blood from my horses in the barn. They want all the blood from the horses that the farmer said, go ahead, because there's only stallions, mares, and foals up there. I will really love to know the blood. So there was another gentleman, Sean. He was very nice, a standard bred guy. And luckily for me, when he was a standard bred trainer, he was going to Dr. Rook, Terry Rook. So I give him my trainer's chart. He looked at it, and the lady still starting like she want to rock me. And he told her, he said, listen, this is the only trainer we went to since we start doing this that been cooperative with us. Very. He gave us the training chart. He unlocked the box with all the drugs. He unlocked the fridge and let us see everything. Don't you know, Sean, when that gentleman went in there, he looked at the first bottle and he see Dr. Terry Wood. He said, lock back the box. He said, pack up everything, let's go. And the lady fly out. We're not taking blood. He said, no, pack up everything, let's go. He good.
Why was that?
Because he used to use Terry Work too as a standard bred trainer. He was one of the top trainers. So from time he saw Dr. Terry Work on the medication bottle, he just told her, listen, this guy clean. Lock up everything, put back everything, and let's go. We don't even need any blood from your horses. Because he was the top guy, right?
Yes.
Don't you know, Sean, after that, we started then to downsize the stable because some of the horses, the mare started to get old. And then what really thing us is when the casino, because, you know, we were getting a percentage out of the casino for the purses.
Right.
And then when Kathleen Wayne stopped at the premier, she dragged the rug from under us. That time, myself and my wife gone to Keeneland, we went and bought 25 mares and a stallion. Mm-hmm. So now we get stuck with 25 mares and a stallion because I breed all my horses myself. I fold them out and everything, Derek. I had a foal this morning at 3:30 this morning. Wow. Right, a filly. Yeah, I do everything. I breed my own horses. We breed our own horses. You know, I fold them out. I do everything. Along with the training and everything.
He's an all-rounder. He does it all, man.
Right? Yeah.
Man, that's excellent.
Does it all.
So I do everything. So this gentleman, when he saw it, then he said, lock up everything, Carlos. Thanks for your time. I said, thank you very much. And I gave Dr. Reader the joke and he started to laugh. So we started to downsize the stable after Kathleen Wayne did that. And my wife told me, you know, I got the horse head, she have the business head. So she said, you know what, Carlos, the only body right now benefiting it out of this state is the vendors. Because we got Kabul and she's the only horse that making money. And we got 31 other slouches here that ain't cutting it. So we decide now, all right, this is the plan. Any horse that don't make 30,000 a year, he ain't entering at the farm.
Time to go.
Gotta get out of here. So I contacted Hayden, my good buddy Hayden Springer. And 1 year, Sean, I made Hayden laugh. I said, Hayden, you coming down? He said, yeah, sorry, I got a deal for you. So when Hayden come, I said, Hayden, you see, that. Hayden said, Carlos, you up to 12. I said, yeah, give me $2,000 and Callum all. Callum all, get out of here. Callum all. Sean, Hayden will tell you, $2,000 for the 12 of them. I said, get them out of here. Out, everyone gone.
I gotta say, Carlos, I gotta say this though, because you're killing me inside here, man. You know, over the years, you know, I just see your name, I just see this tall man, you know, and even when Sean sent me some photos and stuff like that, I was like, this Carlos is a very straight kind of guy, but you funny as hell.
Well, Hayden get here, so, oh my God, Carlos, these are a lot of plugins to do. I say, you want them or you don't want them? Or let me find somebody else to take them. He said, okay. Hayden took the 12 of them. He give me on top of it, Hayden give me 4,000. He said, I can't get 2. I said, well, give me 4. He give me $4,000. I said, all right. I gave it to my wife. I said, look, there's dinner money, man. Let me go. I said, at least you know what? We ain't got the 12 of them to feed this winter. Out of here. So we get rid of them. We started to downsize. So then after that, my wife got pregnant again. We got our daughter. Then we got rid of the mirrors. We got rid of the stallion, everything. Then we went up to, we said, you know what, let me get back a stallion to keep. So we took a trip up to Keeneland. And I saw the catalog. And I was looking at the catalog and I said, so Annalisa, I like this horse here, but he's in book 6, which is 7 books. So we went up and I looking at him, Sean, honest to God, Ronaldo will tell you, when I went and looked at Cold Harbor, they had to get a stick with a hook to hook the halter to bring him to the door. And then 2 guys had to bring him out. And I looking at him so and I saying, I asked the guy, so why this horse like this? Oh, he's a savage. He's a beast. He'll eat you. It's okay. So I went back again. My wife said, I sport for you. You want to see it again? I said, I got to see you again. Sean, I visited him about 5 times. So he come into the ring now. 2 handlers bring him in the ring. My wife looked at me. She said, you still want he? I said, yeah. I said, I want he. Because let me tell you, saying he can get a good bitch and cut her ass. Don't worry. Let me get he. So, funny thing is that I was bidding and the gentleman was bidding. Sean, when I look at this horse breeding, Sean, he by distorted humor out of a farm away mere named Burr. When Star Farm Sean bred him.
Right.
He sold for 180,000 as a yearling. I got him for 30,000. I was bidding and a guy side of me was bidding. The guy said, you want him? I said, bad. He said, I'll take him. And I got him for 30,000.
Right.
Anyway, my wife and myself, we drove from Kentucky straight to the Stone Farm. Switching. I got him home now. Trouble to get him out the box. Finally get him out the box. I had to ease through the manhole and snap the snap on him. I said, good. As soon as I hold him now, he back his ears. I said, boy, you're in for a rude awakening, boy. Next morning now, when I gone out, all the guys there, Ronaldo and them waiting for work. And I went in the stall. I said, hi, boy, Sean. The man ran me out the stall. The man spin around and have a bar. I dive over the door. I said, boy, oh boy, you're in for it, boy. Now, Sean, I could clip piece of cotton on him. But the problem with him, Sean, he was hurting. He was hurting so bad.
Sean always tell me about this. You know, when we speak off air, he always tell me about this.
Sean, he made 479,000. And you know the part that proof to me that he's a good horse. Dr. Starmer, you know Dr. Starmer, Sean.
Yeah, Dr. Starmer, yes.
Dr. Starmer came to do a Coggins on him. After I get him to the track and get him settled, I decided to the guys, you know what? Let me groom him myself. I don't want none of you grooming him because I know him. He knows me now. And until I get him where I want him, even the blacksmith, when the blacksmith come, I say, no, I can hold him to get shoe. I don't want your holding him because one bad move could set him off.
Right.
So when Dr. Starmer went in the stall, Sean, Starmer went, you know, the left side to take the blood. Sean, when the man went through the ear and he hit me with the front foot, he knocked me out the stall. And I dragged Starmer out the stall. He near killed Starmer. I said, this is strange. You know, Starmer now is Starmer.
Yeah.
Starmer said, coming back. Went, he changed, he nearly come back. I said, Doc, what do you think? He said, let me try the next side. Sean, he move. He move. Took the blood, everything.
You hurt on the left side then. Something bothered him on the left side.
The whole left side. Starmer said, Carlos, don't move him. He went for the ultrasound machine, and when he ultrasound, Shawnee was paralyzed.
Whoa.
He was paralyzed.
How does that make you feel?
Well, you know,
just spent 30. You just spent 30,000 to get this horse.
So I said to myself, my father-in-law can kill me, boy. I said, this training man can kill me, Barbados can kill me, boy. So when I spent $30,000 in my money coming back, I said, boy, this man can kill me, boy. Anyway, I said, Doc, because he and my father-in-law good friends said, Doc, don't tell this man where we from here, because this man kill me. Anyway, we did some more exams, Sean, and we realized on the same left side, they cut the tendon because he had a club foot. So you remember that operation that is do to cut the tendon. So he had a big bump there. I said, Lord, help me. All I could do is pray. I said, Lord, Psalm 91, help me. So Dr. Rook come into play now. I took him to Dr. Rook. Dr. Rook scope him. He said, yeah, Carlos, the left side, the larynx paralyzed, and he showed me it. And you could see how it was, but the right side was good. So I said, Doc, what do you think? He said, you know what? Let me try something with him. And he went for a longer scope. And I said, what the scope is? He said, the scope is usually for ulcer horses to go right in the gut. But I want to see the other scope not getting it good. I want to see if I hit it, if he could move it. If he could move it, be good. I said, Lord, he move it. So when he touch it, Sean, I see, and he move it. He said, good, he displaced a little bit. So I said, what we can do? Operation. He said, no. Just a tongue tie and inject it through. Met 479,000. One night, Tyler Posero was to ride in, and he took another horse, and Patrick rode in, and he won, and Tyler ran second, and Tyler object. So when Patrick come back, I said, Huzzy boy, you can get that down? Patrick said, Carl, I pass his hard, he went off, and he feel like I hit him, man. I passed his hard, he went, he thought I hit him, but it was the win. Win by 6.5. And Tyler was mad because the agent took him off of Court Harbor to put him on a different horse, right? So I get Patrick. Patrick passed, he top of the straight. Man, Becky head spin. That horse met 479,000. And now he's our big stallion, right?
What's your most favorable horse that you've had so far?
Well, honestly speaking, I just treat all of them the same. I ain't got no favorites.
There must be one that you say you got a special bond with. There gotta be one.
That same stallion.
Sean, you muted.
Not how when he works, how he does. I mean, usually when you work with so much horses,
yeah,
they all become children, man.
Yeah, right. My favorite horses is when I go to the farm and dealing with the babies. I just pamper them. But race horses is business. Because there, if you get too attached to a horse, the problem is you're not going to run him where you're supposed to run.
I see. I had the same conversation with a guy a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, I won't call names, but we had a very good conversation about the same thing you're saying.
Yeah, if you fall in love with them, you're not going to put them where they're supposed to. Because if he could only win for 10, you're going to want to run it for 40 because you don't want nobody claim him. You know, but at the end of the day, the end of the year, how much he met? He met 0. Eskimism is my big horse. Eskimism win 2 states. So therefore, no Eskimism going to feed he. That is not right.
How is that horse doing?
Eskimism, he's good. He had an injury last year. He ran Queen Split, then he just get beat. He got beat by a nose. What happened is Louis had the inside horse put there, but he didn't saw Cassie horse on the outside. And he just caught him. And then I was getting him ready now for the same race. And a loose horse on the training track ran into him. And boom.
Unfortunate, eh?
How bad is he hurt? How bad is he hurt?
It was his tendon, but I get him back.
Okay.
I stopped him right away.
Yes.
And I ultrasound it, and I saw the damage, and I took him home, and I had him in the stall showing for 5 months. And I
have a horse. I have a horse here in Barbados right now, Corset, who got injured the same way, but he got his shoulder really hurt badly.
Shoulder.
Yeah, he got hit in his shoulder.
Ooh.
He was off for 2 years, so he only came back the end of November there at Woodbine, but. No, he's been going pretty good here right now. So I mean, I just want to find out, it seems to be a common thing at Woodbine, horses running into one another when
they're and it was funny because usually I train him Sean last. The only 2 horses is beyond the track is be him and Pink Lloyd. Because I know he's a stallion. He's a stallion now, and I don't want to take him out when there's a lot of horses in the crowd, right? And for some apparent reason, this horse was out there. And the horse dropped the rider down by the gate and came the other direction, came back to come off. So when the horse hit him head on and knocked him to the side and hit the tendon. So when he came back to the barn, the tendon was big, right? So I look at it and I called the vet and I said, well, you know what? Let me work on this now. And there's something I use here, Sean, that I believe in. For leg injuries, you see a cold cast. Cold cast.
Yeah.
Cold cast. That is what bring him back.
Okay.
What's a cold cast?
It is a cast that has in like, Sean, you remember years ago we used something home called Mortazine, a pink substance?
Yes.
It has in Mortazine.
Okay.
It has in Mortazine. It has in Epsom salts. It's something like animal-lentics, but it's sticky, right? And when you put on that cold cast, you leave it on for about 3-4 days straight. Don't bring the horse out the stall. And when you take off that cold cast, you see the difference. It's like a cast you put on a hand. You see the difference, Sean, believe me. It pulls all the heat and everything out, and it just get it to go right down to a certain point. And then after that, you work on it. And that is what brings him back. When the vet saw him there last week, he couldn't believe it. He said, Curtis, whatever you did with him, man. And then I mix up my usual little Belgian blister. You know how we roll, Sean. And I clap some blisters in him. And he's back again, ready to work now. But we were having some very unusual weather, as Derek know, and just can't get to go to the track, Sean. We're in the shed now all the time. So that's this morning.
What I want to ask you, how did it feel winning your first stake, winning in Canada? I don't know if you talked about it before, but I want to hear it for myself.
Sean,
you know what I mean? I know it's something special.
It was like a dream come true. You know, it was like a dream come true. And that's the same horse Eskimism. I could not believe it. You know, because till I had the favorite very, very quick. But what helped me is when I saw the rain falling. I said, well, I told Annalise, I said, now the rain falling, I think we got a good shot. She said, why? I said, because very, very quiet is big like an elephant and he's going to sink. Guaranteed. And Sean so said, so done. When Louis, after the race, Louis told me he looked across at the silver and he see the silver chirping, and the more he chirped, the more he see very, very quiet sinking. And he said, no, time to go. And Louis clear. And that felt, boy, you know, all of my hard work and everything
yes,
paid off. You know, it paid off, you know. And my satisfaction, Sean, is like getting horses from people that trainers that say, tell owners, this horse will never race again.
Yeah.
I have a horse right now that I knew this gentleman because I trained for Norm at night when he had days.
Yeah.
And it was the owner that was there. Mm-hmm. And he has this nice fat daddy filly. And he bought the filly to me last year. He tried to contact me, but he couldn't find me, and he get me through my wife, my brother-in-law, my wife. And I went up by him and I checked out the filly, and he bought it into the track. So he bought it in a Wednesday, and he was leaving the Thursday to go to Ireland. Long story short, he told me, see what I could do with her, see if we get a race out of her. So the first morning I sent her out, I said, Ronaldo, just take her the wrong way, back her on the wrong way, jog her on the wrong way, and come off. Boy, Sean, that looked like a greater Sean. This horse, I said, Ronaldo, jump off. Don't even ride her. So I went over and everything, and I found her problem. And I called the vet. I called the owner. I said, Brian, is this horse knee, you know? He said, really? I said, yeah. He said, well, I know did a tonectomy on the horse, a throat surgery. And I got $5,000 to $6,000 in bills here for shocking the right shoulder. I said, what? He said, yeah. And when I got the vet to x-ray the knee, Sean, the horse was heading for a slab fracture.
Wow.
The vet told me, Carlos, one more gallop, not even a word, just a gallop.
Done.
He would have had to put her to sleep.
Wow.
And the thing is, this filly, my boss, this is the first horse his wife ever breed. So his wife tell him, fix it. I said, Brian, I can try to fix it, or you in the doghouse, buddy. So I check her and I sent him the x-rays right away, and I told him, I said, you know, Brian, just come for and take her home. I said, and I'm not going to charge you the full day rate. I'll charge you a little something just to pay the rider.
Yeah.
Now he turned and tell me, Sean, he said, listen to me. You find the problem in less than a week. And this horse was here from March. They September. Charge me the full day rate. You deserve it. And then he took home the horse. I said, no, he put this. And then before that, Sean, the horse feet was terrible. The horse wearing a size 5 and I had a size 3 shoe on.
Why
so
do you do that, man? I find a lot of people do that.
Exactly. So the horse had corns.
Wait, hang on a second there, because this is one side of the business that I absolutely knows nothing about. I think you need to explain this to people who are very curious about it. The shoe size of the
well, horses vary in sizes, and they have a myth that the bigger the horse foot, he likes turf, but I don't believe in that. Some of them got big feet and they only like turf to eat grass. Some of them can't run a lick. So I don't believe in that. Have the heart in the right place, and you do everything, and you give him every chance, then he will prove himself. But as Sean will tell you, Sean, no. People they say, oh, he got size 7 foot, and he should like turf. I say, he like turf to eat. That's the only time he like turf. So some blacksmiths tend to, I don't know if it's the easy way out for them or if that's the only shoe they have and they want the business, but not knocking anyone, but they just slap on any shoe, right? But I don't care who get mad at me or not. I have the best blacksmith at Woodbine. And you know who's my blacksmith, Sean?
Who?
Kate.
Well,
Katrina.
She was my when I was here too, so I agree.
The best blacksmith at Woodbine.
I second that.
Last name.
Best blacksmith at Woodbine, Kate.
Yeah, she's great, man.
What's Kate's last name?
What's Kate's last name, no, Sean?
Listen, it's so long, right?
Exactly.
It's Katie. Does it start with a V?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Yes.
So, Kate.
But it's long. She's from Czech, right? She's from Czech Republic, I think.
She's from the same place Stronach is from.
Austria.
She's from Austria.
Right.
Yeah.
She has a very long name, man. And we you guys can't. We just call her Kate.
Katie.
Kate V.
And Kate came and she took off these shoes and she just shook her head. She said, Carlos, unbelievable. Mm-hmm. She said, look at this horse, look. This horse wearing a size 3 shoe.
Yeah.
When Kate finished, she was wearing a 5.
Yeah. No, same thing happened with we had some horse that just came in from North America, say Canada and the States. And everyone they were undersized, and I couldn't understand why everybody have them. Every horse came in wearing size 4s, and now everybody's wearing 5s. You know what I mean? And comfortable.
Exactly. And that's one thing I learned from my trainer Jake Nemeth. Like Jake was a claiming trainer, and he was very, very successful. Very successful. Like back in the earlier days, he and Tillon used to have it back and forth. And every time we claim a horse, the first thing Jake do, because Jake was his own blacksmith.
Right.
First thing Jake do is take off all 4 shoes. And he had a rubber mat. And he put the horse on the rubber mat to stand.
Right.
That's the first thing he do. He said leave off these shoes for 4 to 5 days. And then we take the horse then from there and we walk the horse up to where the trailers are now, and we put him on the scale. You remember the scale, Sean? And we weigh the horse to see how much the horse weighs. And then he knows from there on, well, if the horse is undernourished or what. Then after that, as it get back to the barn, is a worm medicine. Clean out everything. And then we take it from there. And we had a lot of success. Like, I will never forget, Sean, you know the horse. A horse called Casada's Pass back in 91.
Yes.
Well-bred horse. 91, Samson paid $100,000 for this horse. And this horse broke about 4 men. The last person the horse broke his foot was Tyrone Harden in the field, remember?
I remember that very well. I was down there in the field that morning.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I broke the foot.
Yeah.
So Jake was asking Jim Deere at the time for the horse. And Jim Deere refused. And then when it bought Tyrone foot, he bought the horse to the barn. He said, Jake, this is the horse you want. Take it. So we took the horse. First thing Jake did is take off the shoes. And I hold in the horse, Sean. And this man started to peer off this horse foot. There, when I say a peer, he cutting off all like the dead skin.
Wow.
Right? Off the horse foot and he peering. And the horse foot started to bleed. And I said, Jake, you're going too deep. Well, I get the cussing in my life, so I keep my mouth shut. Sean, the last cut he made, Derek, this thing fly out black like this here and smell awful. When it came out, I will never forget, that horse put down his head and he said, like, a sigh of relief.
Yes.
So, like, people don't know, Derek, but when a horse foot hits the ground, it expands, right? For the cushion, right? It expands. So all the time it expands, with that in there, he had something we call a quarter crack. This thing was open like about an inch. So I turned and I said, Jay, what are we going to do? He went and he got peroxide and he poured in it. Then he got on the phone, he called my father-in-law. But my father-in-law was a dentist down Young Street for years. See, my father-in-law came to look at it. Then he came back. About a week later, we had him in the stall just in a boot. And Sean, he went from, man, he did weigh about 900 pounds. You remember, Sean? Derek, this horse hips, you could have hang clothes on it.
Wow.
That's how skinny this horse was. But
it sounds like,
you know, $100,000 back in 91. That's like $1 million, right?
Good coin.
Samson Farms was not easy. Sean will tell you, them had the best of everything. So then I see my father-in-law came and he bought his tools, his skit and everything. And he took this thing that is made, you know, the denture that's made the false teeth.
Mm-hmm.
And he spray out all in there and clean it. And he packed it with this thing. Then he get the wire and he wear it in. And he put on a pad. So give him another week in the stall. Give him another week, we bring him out. Terry Booker was our exercise word at the time. Booker got on him and we start shadowing him. And he was still a little hesitant because it was still in his head, right? So I said, Jay, with a horse like this, what you would do? He said, the first thing you do with him, Carlos, is do not ever take him back in the field. Because the memories of the field, he's going to think it's going to happen again. He says, just like you go into a door and you slam your finger in the door, whenever you go to that door, you're going to be very careful or you're going to go through another door. You don't want to see that door. You're my off, Sean.
He left Tyrone wrapped around a tree.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah, bend like an accordion, man.
Yeah.
And he bent like an accordion.
Yeah.
And we first start, Derek. You remember Sidney Fennett, Sean?
Yes, of course.
Sidney rode him. I was grooming him. And it was a maiden 16,000 claiming. That time 16,000 maiden is a big race.
Yeah.
No? Derek, I won by 7.5.
Wow. What was his horse's name again?
Casada's Pass.
Casada's Pass.
This horse put on about 200 pounds. He just get big and robust. And the way he was training, I said, boy, you have to beat this horse first time out the good. And Jake said, yeah, you're getting a little too cocky for me here. I said, all right, back down to earth. But he went by 7.5. He paid $83 to win too. He win easy. He won easy.
Sounds to me like you don't get too many favorites.
Well,
but that's common when when you're not wanting big outfits.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
As Derek, as we say in Bajan terms, right? As a yard foal. As a yard foal, right?
Yes, overlook all the time, right?
Yeah. Jim Bannon was on, and I spoke to him about certain things like that. Because one time I ran social charter and Eclipse Prep, and I wanted prep,
yes.
But when it came out to the stick race, I still was not considered. So I that's why I asked him, how come these smaller guys always seem to take a backseat?
Yeah, I remember that answer that he gave. Yeah.
Yeah, you remember what he said, you know?
Yeah, I remember what he said.
Yeah, and that is it. Yeah,
man.
So you see, the thing is with me, when because everybody does hustle Derek to get out the track. I don't know for a reason, but they come work at 6 o'clock, and by 8 o'clock, they want to be back home. They want to be in the room.
There's always something about home. You ever listen to little kids? I just want to go home. I just want to go home. When they get home, they like, what do they do when they get home?
Honestly speaking, when I told Jake that I want to become a trainer, he said, listen to me, Carlos, the first thing you got to understand, you might think you got kids soon, but wait till you get employees. And he was so right. Derek, they're worse than kids, man. Fighting over the pitchfork. The fight. This is my pitchfork. I see you didn't bet. This for the barn. You know. So I had a thing in my barn that I learned from Jake. When I first went to work for Jake, he said, "Listen to me. I just want to let you know where you stand, and this is how I just do things." I said, "What's up?" He said, I don't want the stress in my barn. I want to see my horse's head out and looking out all the time happy. He said, anybody or anything stressed in my horses, they gotta go. And even Jake's wife said that. She said, he can't keep up with his mistress. I said, who's his mistress? He don't have a woman. She said, the horses. And he said, if you go to sleep and you wake up on the wrong side of the bed, you got two choices. Roll over and get up on the right side or fall in sick.
Interesting.
Or leave it at the east gate. Don't bring it in my barn. And I saw he fired 3 guys for that already. Abusing the horses. Right? And he said no. And I adopt that same mentality. Anybody working for me. Nobody can tell you, Derek, you could go in barn 12 now and tell you you're having a bad day. Nobody. Because I try not to take it on the animals because they feed off of you. Right? They feed off of you. So I destroy everything to keep my animals happy. Carrots, apples, mints, grass. I go. Sean, right now, I got a sickle in my room that I bring back from Barbados 12 years ago. And I still got that sickle there.
What's the sickle for?
Cut grass, man. I go down in the field and my horses get fresh grass every day. Instead of dry here.
That's something foreign in Canada. Seeing a man with a sickle, all right.
Yeah, people just look at me like, this guy mad.
He's crazy.
he crazy. But ain't crazy is at the end of the day, when my horses go front side, I know so long as I treat them good, them can give me 110%. Unless something happened during the race, I know them can give me 110%. Right? And that is why you see there's a lot of Emma Wilson for sure. Emma Security I like to write for you because I know you're not going to send a horse up there to hurt nobody.
Right.
I say we never do that. You know, I got 8 horses and they got to last me to December.
Yeah.
Right? 2-year-olds, I don't be in a hurry to race 2-year-olds. I sent home a 2-year-old last year, Sean. He was small. If you see him now, about 16 hands. You know? And Jake always tell me that Dr. Green and Dr. Time. Nothing beat the 2 of those. You give the animal enough time, he can tell you what he want, send him home, bring him back. That's the only success you could get along the way. Right? So
I like hearing all these stories from you guys, man. I learned so much from you guys, man.
So
I mean, these are stories that people don't normally hear.
Yeah. But the same horse Casadas pass. We did good with him. Then you remember Grant Pierce, Sean?
Yeah, of course.
Grant Pierce had a horse that Catherine, their mother, bought for $50,000 US, named Thief in the Night.
What's it
A
name?
nice Thief in the Night. Laurie Lyndon Smith went on her, and her first race she won with us was with Dada, Richard Buffett. You remember in Greenwood?
Yeah.
And again, Derek, this filly would not perform. Cost a lot of money. And every morning she walked around the shed. They were in my barn. Jake said, "You're not going to give me that horse, Penny." No, Jake. Anyway, she won it 3 times. It ran last, far last. So one morning, Penny came and she said, "Jake, you can have her. She's no good." Jake said, "Really? Okay, I'll take her." That's just how he thought. The first thing he did, he took off the shoes. And then he said, "Careless jogger." And he was behind the horse standing. And he said, "Put her inside. I didn't know what's wrong with her." Sean, wouldn't you believe, from jogging her behind, he noticed she had an infection inside her vulva. Yeah. He called in Dr. Starmer, do up the tail. Dr. Starmer put in this tube. I said, what are you putting in there, Doc? He put liquid furosin and some antibiotic, and he put in a tube and sew it off and let that drain. Derek, you think a skunk smell bad? Oh my God. That was nasty. That was nasty. And he leave every day. Stammer will come and flush it, put on antibiotics and everything. And if you get her right, the doc said, well, you guys could carry on and run her and see what happened. First race, Jake said, Carlos, who you want for this horse? I said, I want my Barbadian guy. I want Richard Buffett. We call him Dada.
Dada.
So my father-in-law that owned the horse. And they asked Jake in an interview, why you put this horse in for 20,000 and it can't even win for 5? First thing Jake said was, ask the horse. Like first thing he said, he was a crusty old guy. So we put her in for 20. We put up Dada. So she won.
1 for 20. 63 to 1 again.
I agree with Dada. So in the interview, the interview Jay, and they said, Jay, what did you do with the horse? He said, it was a Hungarian, because he's from Hungary. He said it was a Hungarian, Barbadian, Trinidadian connection. All the girl that was interviewing could do a shit. She had a laugh. I said, Jay, you ain't easy. And the next, Dada won 2 on her. And then her last race before we sent her stud, Laurie Lyndon Smith. You remember Laurie?
Yeah. Yeah.
Laurie won on her. She won 3. And after those 3 races, the lady wanted to give us all her horses. Yes, I don't need your garbage. I know. And all of that there, Derek taught me so much about horses that, I mean, as I said early on, Sean.
I'm glad that you said that, right? The knowledge you have gained from going to Canada. Explain that.
Sean, the knowledge I gained going to Canada, honestly speaking, I could not gain it in Barbados. You understand what I'm saying?
Even though everybody in Barbados knows everything.
Everything. Everybody know everything. As Jake said, put 1,000 of them in a room, everybody right. Everybody know everything. They're not open for suggestions. They're not open, and it is sad. I love, Derek, as I tell you, I prefer to watch races at the Garrison than Gulfstream and them places. Because watching races at Gulfstream and them places is like you driving down the 401. Everybody in the lane. At the Garrison, you see this horse on top of this horse head and this body here. And, I like to see that. Drive fear, get out the fear, right?
Yeah.
So I did tune into the Garrison all the time. But then, Sean, people ask me already about being to racing and whatnot, and what I think about racing and that type of stuff in Barbados. I said, look, I would love to take a horse to Barbados to race, even if I don't win, just to represent home.
Yes.
Where it come from. I love the Garrison. I owe the Garrison my whole life because it made me the horseman I used to be in Norville, Sylvester Olivier, Pepe, all the old guys. I owe my whole life to those guys. Those guys look out for me. Dexter dad second, stepdad, all of them guys. Them guys look out for me. And they keep me on the way.
What you're saying there, that's the unfortunate thing that's happening in Barbados now. The names you just called there, we don't have that anymore because all of our good guys are in Canada now or in some other place in North America. And it's left a vacuum of passing that knowledge on. I think that's the biggest thing that's hurt Barbados in the last 2 years.
And I'm glad you said that, Sean, because when I first saw the show, it touched my heart. You know why? Because the youngsters that watching these shows, they could see I was a groom. I was a lightweight.
Yes.
4 o'clock in the morning, me and sprinting the sea swimming horse to the man of war, stingray and runway. That cold water, especially in January, February. I never forget them times, man.
Listen,
You know,
I went to see the first time for a little while I went to see was 2 days ago.
I
And when
tell
that
you,
cold water hit
when
me,
that cold water hit you, Derek,
I was like,
you know, it's like,
oh,
man, and you going out through the boats, through the yachts, you ain't got a clue where you're going.
yes.
And you know, every time my mom say you're going in the sea in the morning, I say, yeah. She said, go along. A shark will soon bite off half you. I say, yeah, I know.
Oh, Carlos and Sean, who makes the turn for the horses when they go? Does the horse make that turn themselves, or you make that turn?
You guiding them.
You
Oh, you
guys,
guide them. Okay.
You guiding them. You guiding them. Some you get on the back when you're coming in. Some horses prefer to put your feet in the chest. Sean tell you, we had a crazy one there. Skeets Bear nearly drunk us. For the Gold Cup, Skeets Bear. He was a special horse.
he was, I didn't like him at all.
I remember one day, Sharpman was giving him something in a syringe. Next thing he collapsed in the stall. You remember, Sean? Boom! I said. Then he got up like, what's going on? I said, boy, something wrong with your brain. Something seriously wrong with you.
Man,
He
that
was a
horse,
special horse.
he was goofy, man. I remember
He was
him.
goofy.
I remember him. We were training him. We had a race one, and from Slade Callahan was riding him, but he only had 2 strikes to go, and all of a sudden he pinned his ears and put the brakes
I'm
on,
breaker.
and
Yeah.
just got beat. I mean, that's the sort of thing that horse used to do, man.
Man, he did something else.
No, but the knowledge that you have now, I didn't have back then. You know what I mean?
Correct.
And I would like to step back in time just to see, you know,
Yes,
what my knowledge
sure.
to think. Yeah, because
Yes.
horse like him to me, I just said early on, they always got a problem, man. Something.
They always have a problem.
Yeah,
They can't
yeah.
talk. So you got to
Can't
figure it
talk.
out.
Yeah, you
And
gotta
Derek,
figure
that is my love. That is my
I
satisfaction.
think so. Just figuring that thing out, right?
Man, when you see me get a horse that other people can't figure out, I had a horse years ago. One of Jake owners, he left when Jake died and he went to John Ross. And he brought back a horse called Archie Man to me. And he said, Carlos, you know what? I don't know what to do with this horse. He won't go in the paddock race there. He won't go in the box. He won't train. I said, all right, leave him with me. I'll deal with him. Sean, I took this horse to the paddock. You will tell you. And there was a vet, a very strict vet. They call him Twister. His name was John. And I took this horse over to the paddock from the first race. I have never, usually Derek, when a horse want to pee, he would spread, put his front feet out and his back feet out and he pees. Derek, this horse stand up like a human being and pee himself. When I got him in the paddock, he was so scared.
Wow.
He trembled. And I kept him out there for about four or five races. I was so tired. And the last time I brought him back in the paddock, he dashed out the saddling stall. And I look at him and I said, buddy boy, I leg weary. You gotta go, man. If you want to go, go. I done with that. Don't you know that horse you run out the saddling stall, Derek? Stand up. Watch me. Walk right back in the saddling stall and stand up on an angle. And that is how he saddled every race there.
Oh.
I took him up to Dr. Rook and we found out all his problems. He won three at Woodbine and 2 at Fort Erie. Then he get claimed for 20. 12-5 he got claimed for.
Carlos, I absolutely admire that. You know why? Because it's the same thing that Carlos Grant is saying. The same thing, Hall of Famer, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Hall of Famer saying the same thing.
I that is my satisfaction. You know, I like to know that you give me a project. You give me a project. I had another horse there a couple of years ago. Nobody can get him to the races neither. About 3 or 4 trainers had him. But Sean, he was the worst I ever had, honestly. And I got him to the races. But the problem was with him. I told the owner, I said, listen, this horse, your choice, but my job is to protect your money. And for my opinion, he has too many problems now. If you want to go ahead and spend the money to fix him, your choice. My conscience clean. Okay? Anyway, they told me they want to fix the horse. Do throat surgery, do whatever we had to do. Now I said no. Before that, you're going to spend 20,000 and you ain't guaranteed to make it back. On top of it, my training fees. They took the horse. I said, here's the deal. My opinion to you guys, run him for 5 to 7.5 first time out. Okay? Give him, keep it. Jake always tell me, keep yourself in the best company and your horse is in the worst. And you'll make money. Sean, we decided that was the game plan. And when I went to enter the horse, the owner called and said, no, my son want to put him in for 40.
Did he win?
Of course not.
Derek, they had to get a search warrant to find him. The BD so bad that he heat stroke. Now the difference is, after they run him for 5 or 7, he bought a software company.
Yes.
And he would be able to,
Yes.
go on. And he was a nut.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, they had to get rid of him. And the hurtful part about the whole thing, Derek? The lady wrote me a nasty letter and cursed me out.
Well, what could she possibly say when you were trying to put the horse in the right spot?
After all that, tell me I took her money to support my kids.
What?
That was the hurtful part. That is what you see. I don't train for people. I just train for my family.
Right now you don't have no horses for nobody?
I have 2 outside owners. 2. And these 2 gentlemen, one is our family friend, and the other gentleman, I know him for a couple of years. About 10 years I know him for. And that is all. I had other people approach me about training, but these people want to come direct from time to see you as a little poor boy. They want to come with a deal. Okay?
Yeah. Always
That's the first thing they want to come with. They want a deal. Right? One guy tell me, Carlos, I'll give you $1,000 to train a horse with me a month. I see you do the math. You divide 1,000 by 30 or 31 and tell me what you come up with as a day rate. $33. Get out my barn. I said, go to Atfield, go to Mark Cassie, go to Mike DePaula, you go to Josie Carrot, and if you could get it for that rate, you come back to me. So, he ain't come back. And it was the worst thing out.
Yeah, but it's true.
You got to know your value too.
Not only that, they're going to put you, you're going to go into a hole. And a deep hole, Sean will tell you.
Yeah.
Sean experienced it. He knew it.
I know it very well.
He knew it very well.
Me. Yeah, that's the kind of guys that always come to you first. You know what I
mean?
Yeah. Got to make a deal.
Yeah.
Sometimes you make the deal and then you're successful, you're ahead of the game, and you think then, I got to get out before I get myself in a hole. You know what I mean? Because you learn from experience. I mean, you put yourself in a hole, you learn, but you make sure it don't happen again. So sometimes, if you see a horse you like, you know what I mean? Or if you're allowed to claim a horse that you like or whatever, you get the job done, get the money, and then when you see the rest of the garbage coming, you hit off.
Exactly. Like I had a guy this year call me that he got a horse. He could give me the horse, and he ain't want the bills back. If the horse win, he can give me 20%. I tell you, something wrong with you. You ain't living in this time. You're on a different planet. Oh, I supply the horse. I say I got a bunch of horses at the farm. I don't need no horses, buddy. There is another thing a lot of people think. I came into the track. A security girl came to me. This guy want you calling. You want to know if you want a partnership. I said, my mother said any partnership is a sinking ship. And I ain't sinking. Not me. Any partnership is me and my 2 children and my wife. I ain't getting in that. You know, I ain't doing it. And the hurtful thing about it, and I shouldn't say it there, I should not say, but it's a lot of hand-to-mouth people that want to own a horse that can't even afford to feed their own self. They're going around at night to see who feed won't open, to thief the feed, to thief the hair. You know?
Does that happen?
Of course.
That right. That's why they don't like me, because I tell the straight. I don't care. You know? I speak my mind. As my mom said, I'm not a fridge I don't keep. So if we see nonsense, I can tell you straight what the program is. That is me. You know? That's how I operate. And it's a lot of these guys that they can't feed themselves. They can't put gas in the car, but they want one horse. You know? Take that money and put it in an education fund for your kids. You know? Do something positive with it. You're working for money to do what? Never said to them gambling. You know? And the thing about gambling, and it has hurt me to see my own fellow man doing it, because if you take that money, you put it in the bank, at the bank, when do you get it back? When you put it at Woodbine, you don't get it back, you know? It gone. You can't go and withdraw nothing. It go along.
But isn't that part of the whole horse racing, the lure, the business, the love,
Yes,
isn't that the part of it?
There is a part of it. But you live in Canada, you always here know your limits, play within it. You understand?
Absolutely.
So I don't bet them. I don't put a cent on them, because when I bet them, they don't win. So if they win, I gain. If they lose, I gain. So I don't bet them, period. So
it becomes a bad habit though, and I find, especially at those bigger tracks in North America, they have a lot of bad habits. So if you're not an alcoholic, you're a gambler. If you're not a gambler, you're a weed head, coke head.
And
every different. In Barbados, all you hear about is guys just drink and smoke. But in North America, if you're not there, you're taking pills. You know what I mean? And they got so much different things.
As when I first came on the track, my old boy Jake told me, "Say, Carlos, you got Young and Restless, you got Bold and Beautiful, you got Days of Our Lives. This is as the track turns. This is what operate as the track turns."
But hang on, let me ask you two a question. So what about the people who got a lot of money and they can afford to, maybe watching Kentucky Derby, watching all these different races, and we see NBC or whoever, and they interview a guy, they say, look, we give this guy is going to put $10,000 on a horse, and they ask him about it. Sometimes the horse wins, sometimes the horse doesn't win. What do you say about that? Isn't that the same thing?
And they can afford it though.
I was not going to tell you that them could afford it.
They could afford it.
For me,
that's the difference.
They could afford it. And as my buddy Darwin Clark said, it's called insanity. You're doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting results. It ain't gonna happen like that. Put your money in the bank. Everybody, I get cursed regular when I go front side. The Jamaican guys just tear strip off of me. Because when my horse win, will you want to give me that? I said, but if I give it and it lost, you're going to curse me. And give you it, and it win, you curse me. So I can't win to lose. So the best thing for me to do is keep my mouth shut. And these guys after races, I witnessed, Derek. I witnessed these guys after races so broke that they're walking around picking up tickets looking to see if they could get lucky. Now, how sad that could be. How sad that could be. You know what I mean? It's sad. And it has hurt me to see my fellow Bajans come up here and adopt the same habit. You get an opportunity a lifetime. And when I look and I say, see, you know what? You got an opportunity that another person in Barbados that willing to do something with it will be glad. And you up here making yourself a nuisance. I don't like that. I don't like that. Try and keep your head above water. As my mom say, you got to keep your head above the water. Tread the water for as long as you can and keep your head above the water. You know, because in every day you're going to be 20. In every day you're going to be 30. You know? Then now when you get 80 years old now, you on the street panhandling and you want people feel for you. You know? But look what you do with your youth. Right? Make here while the sun shine. And that's how I just live. You know?
That's some
I
real
just
talk.
always direct remember my mom up to this day. I just still hear my mom in my ears, you know. Always make the best of a good opportunity. As I told Mr. Headley earlier today, Sean, I told Peter Gaskin, when I get back to Canada, you gotta get one and Canada's done with the draw to blow me out. Go on, laughing. I ain't laughing. You could talk to you like. I make sure I can be like a flying fish, Sean. I season in here. Ain't laughing. And they doubt me. Me? When I left Barbados, I left it only my mother, my sisters. I left it nothing else behind. Too many women in Canada, brother. Not me.
Carlos, I want to ask you about last year, Queen Split, the horse. Any future in that horse? You still got it?
Yeah, well, last year, Queen Split. Emma was the original rider. And as I say, rightfully, he should have been much closer in the play trial. But it's horse racing. You know, it's horse racing. You need luck on top of luck and God with you. Because when you turn them loose with the jockey, only God can help you.
Now, your jockey that rode for you was a fellow Barbadian.
Yes. So what happened is when Emma could not ride the horse, over the years, we got stuck in the morning, my wife and myself. Sometimes after the guys got sent back to Barbados and never come back, we had horses and could not get them out on the morning. So my good buddy Pochi, they go and ask Jet Li, look, Carlos and Annalisa stuck, could you help out?
And Jet Li is Jason Hoyt.
Yeah, Jason Hoyt. And Jason would say, I come in now. And he would do Mark Cassie horses and he would come over and help us. And my wife always tell him, you know what? Someday I can be able to pay you back. I can reward you. Someday we can reward you. And I always suggest, don't worry, keep your head above water. We can help you out. And when he was going to take out his jockey license, I was happy because first when he got his landed papers, he came to me, he called me uncle. He said, Uncle, I get my landed papers because I always used to be on his case. I said, listen to me, you get your landed papers yet? And I used to be preaching it. And I feel that he went to sleep just hearing me in the ears over and over and over and over and over and over. Then eventually he come and he tell me, Uncle, I got it. I said, good. I said, no, you could do whatever you want in Canada. You understand? You don't on a piece of paper no more. So then he came and he told me, he said, Uncle, I feel like I can take out my jockey license. I see you can handle it. He said, yeah. I said, all right. I said, well, I will support you in any way I can. I told him, I said, Jet, you know, just understand as his nickname. I said, Jet, just understand that Emma is the first car rider here, even though she got big barns. This is how it is. But first opportunity arises, I can give you a shot. I'm going to give Kevin a shot. Okay? Because I watch you two little men grow from small, and when I come along, and it made me happy to see that you guys improve on yourself. You come to me when you got problems. I try to walk you through them and get you ahead. So when the opportunity came up for a rider, there were about 10 agents came to me. I said, I got a rider already. One agent told me, oh, my jockey is a Queen Split winner. I said, yeah, that way your jockey can sit down the jockey house and watch the race. Because if you ain't getting it right, you ain't riding my horse. Right? So now the tables turn. Okay? They ain't going to the big outfits now, because the big outfits got all the riders.
Yes.
The same stone that the builder refuses, the same stone he won't come back to use. So no. So when all they hear now who the jockey is, all the mouth long. But I don't care. Jason Hoy, you could tell your grandchildren, you could tell my girl Zia, young lady, that Daddy rode in the Queen's Plate and Uncle Carlos put you up. And I call Ronald Burke and I say, look,
Beautiful.
Jason rode in this horse. I don't care where we
Beautiful,
run,
man.
win, lose, or draw. Jason rode in this horse. Okay? The same way all them big jockeys is together riding the Queen's Plate. One of my home little baby boys that I watch race can get a ride. And he got a ride and Kevin got a ride.
Yes.
And I would do it all over again, Derek. Sean, I would do it all over again. If I got another horse that Emma can ride, I would get Jet Li to ride or Kevin. Or I would even bring in Rocco Boy, Ricky Walker, Rico, any of them young guys that I watch grow from babies, that I help grow.
Yes.
I will always be loyal to them little guys. As long as I can help them and guide them, I will help them any way I can. And that is me.
And that's the beauty about racing in Woodbine or even Canada. We got guys that are evolving, doing well, and you're quite willing to bring our fellow Barbadians along with you, which is
Sean,
excellent.
I see it, Sean. You see those guys, Kevin and Jet Li and them, they are just as good or better than anybody in that jock's room. You understand? And you know, and I know, and Mr. Headley know the reason why they're not where they are today. You guys know it, and I know it, and I would not say it. Okay? But you guys know, right? But tables turn, you guarantee them will be in the top 3. Guarantee. You understand? Because Jason Hoyt was Mark Cassie go-to man for donkey years.
Yes, yes.
You can tell me he don't know something?
Yes, yes.
You understand?
Yes.
He was Mark Cassie go-to man traveling all over North America for years.
It's true.
If he ain't pick up something, let me tell you, he head like rock. He head was got to be like rock.
But he's riding well though.
The kid is riding well. He got his weight under control and everything.
Yeah.
Right? And I always tell him.
The last year especially, I thought that was
Yes.
I know for myself as a heavy jockey, okay, you cannot expect a guy who ain't riding 10, 15 years that weight loss. You're not gonna get yourself, no, you gonna fool your mind.
Yep.
To pretend that you're that strong person that you are weighing 150 pounds, you know what I mean? And
exactly.
you know what I mean? It was like, for me, it was a mind thing. I was always known to be a strong rider, but I always felt like the worst thing ever. And I said to the back, I said, I can't believe that was me being so aggressive and so, because I always felt like death, you know what I mean, before and after a race. And you always have to project that image that I'm good, I got it.
Exactly.
I fool all people, you know what I mean? But the mental thing that you have to put your mind to be you're strong, you're aggressive,
exactly.
You can fight and think.
Again, mine don't matter.
Yeah, and it takes a little while, you know what I mean? And I think it took Jet Li a little while to really get into that mode of thinking.
Yeah, it's going to take him a while.
Very aggressive down the lane, and you know what I mean? He looks good.
But again, as I said earlier, if you want it that bad, you can go after it.
Of course.
You can go and you can make sure you get it. And that is why I admire him. I admire Kevin, all these youngsters that doing good for themselves and putting Barbados on the map and helping the family and that type of stuff. Man, you don't know how proud I feel, Sean. I would do anything to help any of them. You understand? But when I see now that you come up here, you trying to be a nuisance in Canada, it's best for you to belong back home to the country. Let somebody get an opportunity to come here or let the Lord carry you along home. One of the two.
Carlos, since last year that Queen's Split, does that propel you to be in another Queen's Split?
Of course, I would love to be in every Queen's Split that run there, right? And I can try my best to get there.
That's what I like to hear. That's what I like.
2-year-olds. I got 2-year-olds. I got a 3-year-old there, Sean. First time he ran was on the grass, and it was the Yearling Sale States race. 95,000, and he ran a good 4th. But then a virus went through my barn, 1 year he had the herpes virus, and now the end of I started the year very, very good because I got a horse named Pino in the purse from a trainer, Nick Gonzalez, and his wife Martha. They were like mother and father to me, and Sean know them good. And I used to winter horses for Martha. Martha always looked out for me, Lord rest her soul. And she was like a mother to me. She would give me 8 horses to take on the farm to winter just so I could eat. You know, my child could eat, my kids could eat. And she had this one filly, and she brought this filly down to the track, and it hurt 2 riders, 2 Bajan riders, it hurt. And she told me, she said, take it to the farm. You got to figure out this horse for me. And I took her to the farm, and first day turn her out. I looking at her, and I saw her lay down. Usually, Derek, it just be a horse like to roll, and when they go on the ground, they roll about, and that's be like a natural chiropractor to put the bones back in place, that type of stuff. But this filly, what I saw, I never saw yet, is that she went down and roll, but when she rolled, she was kicking out all 4 feet with force. And I never saw it before. So I called my chiropractor, a guy named Scott Hyde, and I explained everything to him. And he said, Carlos, remember how I showed you the checker under her girth line? I see. Yeah. He said, do that and tell me what you see. Derek, she flew up in the air like a cat. Off the ground. And just fly around at me like ears back. So I told him, he said, her ribs are out of place. I said, what? So he fixed her up. I told Martha the situation, fix her up. Anyway, she got attached to my kids. My kids used to feed her when I was at the track, give her a lot of hay, give me a lot of hard work to do when I get home. But she fell in love with them. And they took her back to the track 4 times, Derek. This horse went to the farm. The last time, Martha was on her dying bed. And Nick came over and he said, Carlos, Mom asked you to take Pino. I said, really? And she named Pino, she named the horse Pino in the purse because she used to have a little snap brandy in her purse all the time, and they call it a Pino. And that's why she named the horse Pino in the purse. So I told him, I said, okay, and he said, well, I downsizing and I getting rid of a lot of horses because I'm not here anymore. I said, okay. So I took her home for the winter, worked with her, find out her problems, got her over them. Pouchy came up, and Pouchy used to call her Sean Nincompoop. He said she's a nincompoop. I said, man, stop calling my horses old-time Bajan names, man. She's a nincompoop. You got to give nincompoop little juice. I said, no, don't do that to her. Don't you know, Derek, I brought her down. First start 1, second start 1, third start, fourth start 1. 3 out of 4 wins. And then our good buddy Ricky Griffith claimed her. And when Ricky went to claim her, there were 9 claims in for her. 8 people besides Ricky.
Wow.
8 people besides Ricky. She ran yesterday at Gulfstream Show. Safi Joseph got her.
Okay.
Yeah. She ran yesterday, but she didn't run good. She ran last. Okay. But she's a funny filly. She's a very funny filly. Right?
But
and again,
not crossing you. But one thing I could say, right, Derek, about Carlos, we were talking about Prince Pitt just now. He's one Barbadian I know that will always have a chance of doing that because they breed their own horses. And the law of average tells you that you're going to get something good. You're not going to get it good every year, but every 3, 4, 5 years, something good is going to be bred by you. That's going to take you there.
Well, you see, Sean, what we're doing now, as I told my brother-in-law, what our game plan is now, every year we are looking to buy a mare out of Keeneland.
Right.
So we bought a mare this year out of Keeneland by Smarty Jones,
right,
out of a Monarchos mare.
Right.
Both Kentucky Derby winners on both sides.
Yes.
And she was in full to Golden Saints.
Okay.
That is the son of Into Mischief.
Yes, yes,
Into Mischief is 125,000. Golden Saints is 15,
yes.
right? So I told my brother, I said, look, all successful breeders upgrade the broodmare barn.
Of course.
Sampson did it.
Mhm.
Nobhill did it. Winstar did it. You know, and the people more worry about the stallion. They don't worry about the stallion.
Mares,
You
man.
know, and I just tell people the stallion is the sperm donor.
Yes.
That mare have to raise that foal, teach it all the quirks, teach it all she know, teach how to run around the paddock, and prepare it for life as a racehorse, right? And our future plans right now is every year try to get a nice bred mare out of Keelan and upgrade our broodmare barn. And when you do it that way, we have a good proven stallion here, Cold Harbor. And Cold Harbor got horses winning in America. I got a filly that got claim off of me years now near Opiongo. She had 15 wins, Derek. When she lose me, when I lose her, she was at 3.
Wow.
And every time she drop in a claim area, she get claim. She get claim. She know when I Gulfstream 2 weeks ago, Sean,
Wow.
for 20 in a 5 furlong race. But every time she ran the claimer, she get claim, she get claim. And every owner that get her, she win, she win, she win, she win.
Yeah.
She's at 15 lifetime wins, right?
You might know what type of mare she's gonna be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then I got Eskimizin out of the same Coal Harbor. He's closing on our 600,000. These is homebreds. I had Moscow.
Do you get outside clients for him as a stallion? No.
Why is that?
Well, you guys know what it is. I ain't gonna say it.
No, because why I ask you so? Because I know Steve Owens had head chopper.
Shotgun. Mhm.
Yeah. And I know that he told me, I asked him, Steve, why don't you know me? Just go to one of those bigger farms. But they wanted like 30 or 40,000 even before he steps into the door. I mean,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And not only that too, people want to come to Coal Harbor. Sean, the start fee is 3,500. They got a year to raise that money and they want a deal.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Or if I bring 2 mares, you could get it for 1,500. They said, go on, Frank Strawn at that.
Yeah.
Go to Winstar Farm. Go to any of them big farms. If you could get that for them, come back to me. They never come back. You understand? He will stay there and he will breed all of our mares, and we'll get the success. Right? And he will live longer.
You mentioned Head Chopper, both of you guys did. Head Chopper, was that the horse that raced there would never go to the gates properly? There was a horse every year it would just stand up and it would not go towards the gate at all. They would have so much problems with it.
I was
that one?
Head Chopper was running. I saw Steve in 2018 when he started throwing some winners, you know what I mean? For his small operation.
Yeah, I never knew he get trouble.
Yeah,
I never knew he get trouble.
That kind of stuff, you know what I mean?
I never knew he get trouble.
I just used him as an example because small stables tend to, go the same route Carlos is going, we keep it within the family. I know Steve go outside thing, but Steve was telling me, man, it was a lot of work because, you go every, he used to have to rush back home on the farm to breed horses in the morning and then the afternoon.
Sean, that's the same thing with me. Today I had to rush back to the farm to meet the vet.
Yes.
To do the full to do the full exam.
Yes.
Right? And then I had to tease the mare from Keeneland because she coming up on her full heat and that type of stuff. But again, there's something I love to do.
Yes.
I eat and breathe this here.
Yes.
So it comes like nothing to me, Derek. This I got lucky at a young age knowing what I wanted to do and making a living out of it. I got lucky and I got good people backing me.
But
I had a good upbringing.
That's a good thing growing up in Barbados, though. That's one thing I could say we are blessed with is that We have a lot of young people who love the business. They learn from young. The ones who are lucky, who are around good people, learn good stuff. Unfortunately, they got some around some bad people. But the thing about it is that they are in the business from very young. Whereas in Canada, they're having they're not paying out a lot of millions of dollars to get people to come rich. People are walking off the streets who are 40, big men or women that are not really horse people. And as you know, to be a horse person, you've got to really, it's got to be in the core of
You got it inside, man.
You know what I mean?
You got it inside.
You can't come off the streets at 30, 40, or 50 years old and say, all of a sudden, I want to be a groom or a hot walker or something, because they would never last.
Well, they could, Sean, that is committing suicide. So they could. But they're coming in my barn. Guarantee. But that's committing suicide.
But I say they have this thing now, they're $2 million they're paying out to get people. I mean, they're going to set up people in Canada don't really want to do this job, man.
When I drove into Woodbine one morning, and a security guard came to me and told me, Mr. Grant, I said, good morning. Put this sticker on your car. I said, why? Oh, this is to inform people if they want to work to call Woodbine. I said, the only way to put this sticker on my car is if it say Caribbean people can back here to work. You keep it. And they drove off. You keep it. Okay? You know, it not knocking nobody or anything, but like, you got guys back here working, Derek, and I just laugh because, oh, man, I pay this guy Friday. You know what I'm saying? The next 2 Fridays when he broke again.
Yeah.
Meantime, your horses got to eat. Yeah. And the problem is, Sean know a lot of trainers are not hands-on like me or him. A lot of them ain't gonna get in the stall and get dirty. You understand? A lot of them. You know? Like Kevin III. I love Kevin. You will see Kevin go muck out the stall. When we had the herpes virus, Kevin come down. Kevin in the sales barn there, 11, 12 o'clock with us, he mucking stalls. You know? That's what I like to see. Get in the stalls and get dirty.
Yeah.
You know, not that you driving in your pretty car and you just going up there up on the hill and you watching and then you drive out the gate. You don't got a clue what's going on in your barn. But you drawing people their it. You understand? You got to be hands-on in order to be successful. If you're not hands-on and figure out your animals, you're not going anywhere. Yeah. And then you're frustrated at the end of the day.
You don't
Does that help or hurt you? If you stay on top of the hill and watch, does it help or hurt?
Hurt. It helps. It helps you to be in a warm car, keeping your butt warm. But financially, it helping you to go bankrupt fast. Very fast. Believe me. Horses can't talk. They talk to you in a sense, but you got to listen to every word they're saying. You got to figure them out. It's like a puzzle, a jigsaw puzzle. You got to put it together. And if you don't put it together right, you spend your whole life trying, right? And that is one of the things I admire my mom for too. My mom was always a person to get up and get, you know. My mom, Sean, will sell pudding and sauce. She sell her pudding and sauce. She sell her sweet bread. She sell food, you know, all those things to get us by. You know, that's how my mom used to operate. And I come along, all of us come along with the same mentality, right? I put myself through school from like waiting in the paddock and grooming and thing. That's how I put myself through school. And I help out with my sister above me, right? But you have to make up in your mind that you want something in life because nobody can give you anything, you know? You know, my mom teaches one thing. You see, promise is a comfort to a big fool. So if you're going to let people promise you things, you're going to end up being a big fool for your whole life till you die. And then working with Carlos Grant, Sean.
I've always heard that, man. That getting comfortable.
I tell you, getting too comfortable in your zone, you got to come out your comfort zone.
Yeah.
If you don't come out your comfort zone, you're going to die in there.
It's so true, though. It's so true, man.
Not me. When I always up for challenges. When I got here, I could not drive a horse box. My wife taught me to drive a horse box. You understand? And me and my wife did driving horse box. She taught me how to put down the handy part. I had tractor license from back home, but I was rusty. She taught me how to drive tractor. Everything. Now my wife does do it all. She's more man than me. She's doing it all. Believe me. On top of it with kids too. Believe me, Derek. Sometimes she make me look stupid. Honestly. I'm telling you. I will tell you, make me look stupid. But
Hey,
you know,
I want
I
to ask you this question. So, as a trainer, right?
yeah.
Besides winning a big purse, is there anything else that excites you more than just winning the big purse? I think I figured it out when you were talking all along, but I want to hear your thoughts.
Derek, my excitement that does excite me is to see a project horse I get that people say would not win again, would not race again. I don't look at the purse. I just want that horse to cross the line first and give back those owners some money that they lost, and that has been my enjoyment. That is my enjoyment. My enjoyment is raising a baby. When my foal's born, I was the first person to see. And I raised them till I train them as race horses. And when they pass that post first, that is my satisfaction. That is what I enjoy most. And I just go back home and I grab the mirror and I say, your daughter did good today or your son did good today. That is my enjoyment. So they're born with me from time they're born. So all through them career, if they don't get claim me. I had an incident years ago when Paul Attar was training. He claimed a horse off of us called Barbie's Jewel. And one morning, she dropped the ride at the main track and ran straight back to my barn and went in her stall because it was empty. Believe it or not. And John told me, Carlos, Barbie in the stall. I said, who Barbie that Paul Attar claimed? I said, really? She dropped the rider. And I called Paul. I said, she's in the barn here. She ran straight back in the barn, right in her stall, because the stall is there open empty. So horses is stupid. She tell me, I don't like it over there. I want to come back here. Unfortunately, the slip was in for you, so you got to go.
Yeah.
Right? That was it. You got to go. You got to go.
Yeah, you got to go. Right? I had another filly there named Sugati. And Sean, let me tell you, the only reason I bought her is because she was my bullet executive. That was the last line. Mm-hmm. But 2 turning knees and I won 3 with her. Okay. She got claim, and the sold as a riding horse for $2,000. They couldn't get her trained. Mm-hmm. But again, I don't train all of my horses the same way.
Yes.
I train them accordingly to what I see and how they are and how they just eat and that type of stuff. Them is things that's how I was taught, right? That's how Jake taught me. I never see Jake train all horses the same, right? He trained them differently.
So it's safe to say that Jake Nemeth is to you what Laurie Severe is to me.
Correct.
And for myself, it was a blessing to be able to spend so much time in his
presence. Yes.
And these guys were the last of the old guys, you know what I mean? The old time, the way they do it, the old way. And you're fortunate to be part of their lives, man.
Last of the Mohegans, boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. And I tell you, I won't trade it, man, because for what I learned with those guys, and that's why I'm saying again, I'm willing to pass on knowledge to these younger guys that willing to learn. But if I see that you ain't interested, Sean, I'm wasting my time out of my head, And as Jake used to say, I can teach you what you need to know, not what all I know. Well, you ain't gonna turn around and beat me. Laugh at me. I gotta keep 1 or 2 tricks in the bag, right?
Exactly.
So I say,
one thing I could say though, that you get enough knowledge where you could kind of decide right from wrong for yourself when you know what I mean, you get there. That's my take with being Laurie's because as you know, Laurie was a 2-year-old guy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that a lot of his 2-year-old things or what he's done, you know what I mean? How to prepare a 2-year-old and that kind of stuff because it's obvious when you are good at what you do, it's something you're doing right. You know what I mean? And I think Laurie's
Correct.
used to do a lot of good things.
Oh yeah.
Especially like when you watch and see how you were trained a 2-year-old to how other people you look,
Exactly.
you understand?
Exactly.
You see why he was so successful because
And not only that too, Sean, you see, one thing I learned from Jade with 2-year-olds, Jade Secureless, Jade never used to go by this thing that all horses' birthday is the 1st of January. Jade train horses according to when they're born.
right.
Actually
Train
born.
them exactly. Because I'm going after you and you're born in May
Yeah.
and I bring in you. You're not a 2-year-old yet, you're still a yearling.
Yes. Yes.
And that's one thing I learned from Jade. His horse like that, now you send it back home, bring it back at 3.
Yes.
Let it grow up, let it get big, right? And that's one thing I admire Josie Carroll for. About 2 years ago, Josie Carroll was speaking to me on the rail, and she said, Carlos, you know, if Jade was to only promote himself, he want to be the top trainers around here. I say, yeah, but that wasn't Jade. You know, Jade liked to be at the barn with the horses and the workers, just like me. And that's why I adopt the habit from. You know, I can't find myself going out front side, you know, pestering. People come to races to watch the horses run, and you know, the horse get beat, and then I, as a trainer, as I see a lot of them do, go to the gentleman, oh, Mr. Headley, you know, if your horse had on blinkers, it would have been. You know, that's wrong. If Mr. Headley want to make a choice to switch after this race, let him switch on his own, not you breathing down your neck. The gentleman come to watch your horse run, win, lose, or draw. And that is something that I can never find myself doing. Let my stats speak for itself. And if you want me, you could find me. Simple. Call Woodbine, race office, and get my number. If you're interested, sure, let's start. Let me see what you bring to the table. And that's how I operate. But I cannot find myself going pestering people for horses, you know, bad mouthing another trainer for a horse. No. I don't see my, because at the end of the day, you know, no matter what, that trainer family got to eat too, right? He family got to eat too. So if you bring a horse and give it to me for me to train it and got a problem and I could figure it out, sure, I ain't got no problem, because that might lead you to give me another one or lead a friend of yours to give me one, and in no time the stable grow, right? But those type of things I don't like. You know, as a very straight up man, I tell you what the program is. You either like it or you lump it, one of the two. So that's me.
So the future looks bright for you, Carlos. I mean, you guys are breeding your own horses. You're putting your horses to the test. I love that. And Sean was admiring that earlier. He, you know, if the way that you guys are going, you have to have a queen split horse at some point.
Sometime.
Yeah,
sometime. Yeah, and it's all about, as I say, upgrading the Bullmare barn. Yeah. And that's the same thing that BF was talking about there with Sean and you guys the other day about the Creoles and upgrading the Bullmare barn, right? As you could pick any stallion.
Of course.
You could look at any stallion, you could go to any stallion, but it's the mare that counts, right? If you breed a stupid mare, what do you expect to get?
Stupid
what
horse.
Do you expect to get? A stupid horse.
And that's the problem, you know. And most people, I mean, this horse had no ability whatsoever.
Exactly.
It could not beat its own shadow.
Exactly.
And yet you want to put a stallion on top of it.
Everybody want to make a filly a mare.
You know what I mean?
But it don't work like that.
It don't work like that, man.
You know,
work like that.
You got a dummy. How could you put a stallion on that and you expecting for miracle?
Somebody's asking how much mares you have right now.
Right now I have 4.
4 mares.
4
Yeah.
mirrors.
Right.
I got 4 mirrors. I now had a baby this morning. I got another mirror. She might fall out either tonight or tomorrow.
Right.
And I have one that is, she lost her foot, she slipped. So what I do, Sean, that I do different than everybody else do. Like I got a mirror that don't have a fallout foot. I turn her out with the stallion. I pass the breed.
With the stallion?
Yep, I pass the breed. I got a mirror right now outside living with the stallion.
But I've seen that done. I mean, I had a horse one time. I took him.
Yep.
And he used to live with the mirror. He bred her. They live
Yep.
together, and it's amazing. They live quite good after
Yep.
the season is over. They don't trouble one another. They
Because
just,
he not going to go there. Because if he have a deaf fish, he will go there.
yes,
Because she's
yes,
not in
yes,
season.
yes, yes,
Right? The
yes,
mirrors is, people don't know the mirrors is put the stallions in the place very fast.
yes, correct.
Very, very fast. They just put them just like how your wife will put you in your place, dog house, get out there.
Not,
You know?
It's not time yet. Ain't ready
Not
yet.
time yet. Get out there. You know? That's how they just do it. You know?
But listen, I want you to do me a favor, man. When you get one of them horses that kind of ignorant, I want you to do this for me, man. I want you to name that horse a stupid horse.
No. He can run like a stupid horse. Horses run with the name, Derek. No. No. Derek, my father-in-law had 2 names. He named 2. And you know what he named them? Hopeless and useless. Hopeless was hopeless and useless really was useless. No. We ain't doing that. No.
Listen,
Listen,
No.
I
agree
gotta
with you
chime in.
100.
Sean,
Huh?
Sean, I want to say this because I hear an old man say this one time. Old man said the horse had this really ridiculous name. And I was passing by, the old man was like, now how does he expect to win with that kind of name?
He's right. He's absolutely correct. He's absolutely correct.
Horses run to the name, man.
You're hard to the name.
You gotta have a good name.
You know, my mother-in-law even stopped my father-in-law from naming horses. Broken down boozer. You know, what do you expect? And then the running all down the field. You can't even find it with a search warrant. You know? No. We're not doing that. We're looking for proper names. So
Yes.
my brother-in-law, he's big into the Aboriginals
Yes.
and that type of stuff. So
Yes.
all of our horses, we just try to name them after the natives.
Yes.
So that's where you see us got the names Muscamore, and Eskimism, and
Is it?
Elbiabi.
So, okay, can you tell me the meaning of some of these names then? Eskimism, what's the meaning of that?
He's one of the tribal chiefs.
Tribal chief, okay.
Yeah, he's one of the tribal chiefs.
That's a wonderful name.
Yes, Eskimism. And he turned out to be good. Like, you remember, Sean, years ago, I bought a horse out of the seal. I went to this farm looking, Dexter was working on this farm, and I went looking for a filly to put with a filly with mine. Because I had one filly, and I always like to keep them so they could play as babies, as you know, Sean, and have company. So I went up to this farm, and I look at the filly. I look at the fillies. I went over to the boys, and there were about 10 boys in the spot. And this little chestnut one, he ran and come straight to the fence and bite me. I see you bold and feisty guy. Who's you? So I saw the name tag on the halter. So I jotted it off. So I told that. So I said, tell the lady, I'll give her $1,500 for anyone. The lady, she said, okay, I'll leave it with my husband. Anyway, she ain't get back to me. So I said, wait, Dexter, what's going on with the 2 little horses? Man, the lady see you come to she expensive farm to make she shame. So she already said she could say she ain't interested.
Yeah.
Derek, she keep that horse for a year later. I get it in a year. Let's see for $1,200. He met $576,000 guy Piego.
That's how it is.
And Guy Piego is lone wolf. That's the meaning of Guy Piego, lone wolf.
Lone wolf.
And he made $576,000.
Wow.
And the only reason he when the breeders, Tyler was posing for the camera, and you see John on the outside. John will catch you right when you have an outfield horse. And then I meet outfield horse twice after in the Halton and the Voice region, and I beat it both times.
Both times.
Both times,
I,
yeah.
I was just about to say outfit probably sitting back, relaxing and just smiling and enjoying this.
Yeah. You know, when you come into the web with like a trainer like Roger Outfield, you know, it make you feel special. You know, it make you feel special, man. I butt heads with Mr. Outfield, or I butt heads with Mark Cassie, I butt heads with Josie Carroll. So, you know, Jake always tell me, Carlos, this is one sport that it could bring both the rich and the poor on the same level.
Yes, correct.
You only go get the right horse.
Correct.
And you on the same level as them. Right?
Correct.
And I prove it over and over and over. Right? I prove it. Right? I beat some of the best of them with nothing horses.
Yes.
Right? I buy horses just cheap by certain things. I look for in horses and I see it and so I like this horse. You know?
But listen, your father-in-law was the king of that though.
Oh yeah.
He was the king.
Oh yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, he was such the king that he and Jake get drunk one night at the sale and bought this bull mare. And when he get it next morning, he look at the horse and he said, she didn't hear. He said, who's that there? I said, there's a horse called George Jackpot. He said, I bought that? He said, yeah. He said, my God, I bought George Jackass. Because she threw nothing. 2 front foot like this, Sean.
I got here late. I'm now saying that you said you're not talking long and it's 3 hours. Is that true?
Well, you know, Mr. Headley asked me how long I could go if I want to beat Leroy record. So I said I would get a try because that the only time I could beat Leroy. And I'm going for Darwin too. But then you understand I can beat the two of them.
All right, this is the only race you can beat Leroy.
Yeah, you want to I can beat Leroy, you want to I can beat Darwin. So, you know, I don't know who can back my record next, but as I say, everything I do, I want to be on top. So if I come up on top here with 3.5 hours, well, so be it. I take it. You know? What can do, Sean? I'm going to tell it as it is. That's what you're doing for the show, right?
Have you guys started training already?
Yeah, but it's bad. It's bad, Derek. It's bad. Last year, the 14th and the 15th of March, I already had horses work. Can't get horses on the track now because of the weather. And it's nothing to do with Woodbine or anything. It's just the weather. It's how the weather got it, right? Like, I went to the track one full day, and every day now, Sean, I shed ruin because the track came up sloppy, but I go out in the morning, 3:30, and I check the track. Yeah. And when the slop there, underneath the bottom now is ice.
I see.
Right? And I sent out one horse the other morning near the same Dursky. He nearly fell. And my rider secured us. I'm not going back out. Yeah. I said, just shed with him.
Yes.
So hopefully Monday, coming the main track will be open and we'll get something going. But, you know, we got to December 16th. So
yes,
as much as you want to run first there, I'm not going to kill my horses just for the first day of races or the second day of races. And I got a whole year ahead of me. You know, I got 8 and they got to last me because nobody ain't gave me no more unless Darwin and Sean decide to give me 1 or 2. Who knows? I could throw the sprat and see if we catch a wheel, right? Right, Derek?
And never know. For you, man.
The sprat and see if we catch a wheel. Who knows?
Darwin's sending horses all over the place. Why not to you?
You never know. Who knows? My luck might change, right? So he got my number. Who knows?
Mr. Clark is the man.
Yeah. BF is a good man. BF is a good man. Yes, BF, I aiming for the sky all the time. And with your help, I can get above the clouds, buddy. Don't worry.
Hey, Carlos, I gotta tell you this though, because when I look at your races, I always feel like your horses, you train them to go long. Is that part of your plan or what?
Well, not necessarily. As I say, I watch my horses carefully how they work, and most people is watch when a horse works, as they always say. But the most important part of the work is the gallop out. It tells me where this horse want to go, how far this horse want to go. Now, I could put a horse. I watch races different. When I'm watching a race, I watch my horse. All right. And if for some reason my horse deer and then he's trailing, I go back to the drawing board. I go back to the barn. I do what I got to do. I call the vet. Do I have to do Sean all the procedures? And then I go home at night. I pull up the replay and I watch the replay. And if I see in this replay that this horse only ran 6 furlongs, there's no way he going back a mile on the 16th. He going 6 furlongs. He ain't going no further than that because he showed me that that's the only place he want to go. Now, if early in the season, I always start a horse at 6 furlongs and the race finished now and the jockey can't get, he pull up to all back by the 3 furlong pole and I know where he's going with him. You understand? That is a tight enough for him. I got a horse I claim off of Sampson Farms through Simon last year and then right to strike. And my plan for him this year is to win all the long races. That's my plan for he. Well-bred horse by Awesome again. I claim him for new owners, some family friends, and as my brother-in-law tell them, to win the second start, and he tell them don't get too accustomed to this because this is the first time they're having a horse, right? And they won the second start with him. Yeah. But then at the end of the year, you know, the races start to shorten up. And when I got him, he was hurting and he was something we call thumping, like too much, you know, the LASIX had him thumping and there's a lot of things I had to do with him to get him there, but we got him to 1. We got him to 1. So my aim for him is longer races, right? I got other horses there that win at 6 furlongs, but they know what I love about my family here. We just wait for the right race to come. We don't try to jump in every race that we see in the book, whether if the horses go short and there's a race in the same condition going long, we ain't going there. I ain't going out there just for $400 because all I'm going to do is pay LASIX, pay the pony guy. That can't even buy a bag of feed to feed him. You know what I mean, Sean? He can't buy a bailey or a bale of straw. So the best thing to do is to wait for the right condition, the right race where he belongs to, and guarantee you can pick up a check.
Yes. But you know the thing is that you know some guys you can't afford to wait.
Well, if you can't afford to wait, they're gonna make you wait. Your choice. Your choice. That's right. If you can't afford to wait, it will make you wait. And when a person get into this game, they should know what financial situation they're in before they get into it. You understand? There's no shortcuts. As you can do shortcuts, you have to go a long cut.
I feel like you and Sean would teach a good school, but you would teach a really good lesson to guys who really want to get in the game.
Oh, I know you're talking. I like what you said. Guys who really want to get in, because when the class start, all who I see not interesting and leave.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it is. As a no-nonsense man, I will teach, I will try to help people, but if I see that, what? You being an idiot? Go for me, man. I got no time to waste. Your life is too short. Get out of here. And I got my children the same way too, you know? And my wife is worse because she's an education freak. You understand? She don't make joke, even with me. You know, you got to learn the business side. You got to learn it. You have to learn it. It's not only going in a stall. You know, this is the part of the game that people don't like, but you should know it overall. Yeah. And that's the same thing I was telling there earlier. You know, riders and grooms and thing. I want 900 a week. Buddy, yeah, you want 900 a week to get home, but you don't know that's gonna cost me 12 or 1300. I gotta pay you source deductions. I gotta pay a WSIB. I gotta pay this. I gotta pay that, right? But them ain't seeing it. Them just holding up the hand, right? And everything this year up here, Sean, gone up by $27. Feed, hair, straw, everything gone up by $27, right? But people got this thing in them because they see you running in $100,000 race and you win it. you get 63,000. They ain't even pay for last winter yet. Unless this winter that gone, right? They got to eat all the time. They eat 23 hours, eat here 23 hours a day, right? So when you sleep in them eating. So it is a situation like you got to understand before you decide to camp on a person that you're working for and I want more money, right? Like my father-in-law had a door company, Madawaska Doors. And my wife was giving me a joke. He said, this girl came and tell him, I want more money because I can't afford this and I can't afford food. He said, no, it's not like that. If you tell me you bring in this amount of value to the company and you want more money for that, I'll pay you. But I'm not interested in what you can't buy and you can't buy this and you can't buy that. That's help to me. Tell me what value you could bring to the table. Tell me what you could do for the company to improve the company so you could get more money, right? And that's when them guys don't understand. You understand?
That's a difference when you're in charge and when you just got somebody who's doing hours, right?
Yeah.
I mean, difference.
Right? Here at the track is only myself and my exercise rider. I got a hot walking machine. Every morning my exercise rider come in, he do all the water buckets. He do the feed tubs. I do the stalls.
Who's
At the end of the
now?
a guy named Dave you know Dave Osborne, that was with Ricky Griffith.
Okay.
Okay. And Dave come in, he worked for me already. Dave come in, Dave do the water buckets and the feed tubs. On top of his rights, I pay him extra. Because I believe every you work, you're supposed to get paid. Right? And I pay him extra. And with the 8 horses, Sean, when you see 9:30, we finish train.
That's
clean
great.
Dave clean up. Sean, if we not going to the track, when you see 4:30, 4:45, the first horse going around the shade.
Yeah.
When the main track open at 5:30, the first horse out at 5:30, and we work both tracks and get it over with.
Yeah.
Right?
When I was doing it before, I used to be, well, same time, and I used to get it at 3:30. And my first horse I would take to the sand ring, because you could get away with that back then. Sand ring, and then when that one, go to the main track or whatever.
Yeah, you got to do that to get them out. The main thing is to get them trained, right?
Get them out. Yeah,
and especially in the summer when it get hot, right?
Yeah.
That's the main thing. But they got to understand the business side of it too. And that's what a lot of people don't get. They just think that, money go up on trees and you're picking money off of trees, but they don't see the overhead, the expense that you got. And an owner just have it rough.
Yeah.
You got to pay the rate, you got to pay the vet, you got to pay the blacksmith, an owner's got it rough. And then the 10% coming up for the jockey. Then I got to get my 10% on top of my day rate. Then the groom's got to get the 1%. The rider got to get his 1%. So at the end of the day, what do you want to leave with? You understand? So that's why I say you got to protect your own money. You have to protect your own money. You cannot put your interest over your own interest. Your own interest come before yours. You understand? If I got 2 horses in a barn, I own one, and there's the same conditions, and a race come up, I ask my owner, you mind if I put my horse in there? No problem. But I tell the race office when I enter, make sure that Derek Headley horse get in before Carlos Grant horse if there's a draw. No matter what, make sure Mr. Headley horse is in first, and mine and the also eligible. That's how I just operate, right? Because I'm not going to put my interest over yours. You pay me to do a job, and I got to protect you and your money. That's how it's done, right? So that's how I just operate. And if anything my horse can get in, then you get in. Or 2 weeks down the road, or if they scratch me and they look in condition book and I see the same race back, you horse get to run Mr. Haley, you rest, and then I run. That's how I just do it, right? You got to keep everybody happy, right?
I feel like there's so much lessons to be learned when it comes to the business, you know, and so many lessons.
It's a lot, right? But you see, people always want to hands out, give me this, give me that, right? But there's other side of the business that you got to learn, right? I not only got racehorses. This morning, Danny Vella assistant Silvio. I got my horses on webcam that I could watch them, right? At night. In case anything happened, I could just drive up the road. And I showed him the full nursing for the first time. He's Danny Vella assistant. He never seen it. That means it's the first time he ever seen it. First very time, right? I recall I had a guy at the track one time. Man, I followed this amount of horses, followed that amount of horses. So one night I tell you, all right, carry up to the farm and help me follow. Direct the first fall that come out, the man faint for me. Out like a light. The man out like a light. Out
You
like
gotta
a
be
light.
kidding me, man.
I tell you, man out like a light. I said, this man fall out, this man fall out, like he fall out mice or me's. I can't believe it. Man out like a light. Man dirty world. And the man get noise of my wife when he, you know. I said, well, you know what's going to happen to you. Can let me carry you from out my place before you die. Yeah. So, again, Sean, as my mom would say, you never listen to what man say, you watch what we do here. I'm going to tell you, never listen to what man say, brother, watch what we do. Watch it carefully. Or you're going to run in trouble.
That'd be good, man. Carlos, that's
And
good.
you're going on before coming out. I'm looking for the
You're
man.
killing me, Carlos, man. You're killing me.
I'm looking for the man. Say, what is man on? Next day, man up on the ground. Like he didn't fall too. I thought he did falling out to I see man up on the ground. I dragged him out with stall. I said, well. But that's a situation, Hall. You don't listen to what man say here. You watch me do here. I know you're going to run into big trouble all the time, brother. I'm telling you, I experienced it, I know. So now, but let me see your criteria first. Let me see, yeah. But I've been at Northridge Farm, I had the same thing with people there too. They follow this amount of horses, and when they see the blood is what has got people, right?
Yeah.
From time to see the blood, you know, the conk out. Right? That
Like
was his situation. Yeah, that was his situation, the blood. It wasn't the falling, it was the blood. Right? The blood is what is killing you, man. Yeah. But anyway, man, thanks very much. I don't know if I got the record, but I going to sleep because 3:30 in the morning, I gotta be up 3 o'clock in the morning, I gotta be able moving again.
No problem,
So,
brother.
So I thank you guys.
I'm sorry I was late, but like yourself, I am very much under a lot of stress now, and things happen.
Make sure you said make sure you choke the Omar for me and my boy Nipper.
Yes.
So that's my boy. That's my boy. Mr. Headley, it was nice meeting you.
Yes, man. Yes.
And hopefully I see you at Woodbine.
Yes, I'll come over and drink a coffee and watch a race when I see you got some horses in the entries.
Man, you come in all the time. Hopefully I'm gonna get a picture. Who knows? What you there?
Let's hope so. Let's hope
yeah,
so.
Man. Ain't no what's gonna happen.
I want to wish you all the best this season, and hopefully all the horses are sound and ready to go. And you know, as usual, all the best, man.
Yeah, thanks very much. And the picture that gonna be behind there, you can put big on board, one of Darwin Clark. Have a nice night, man. Thanks very much.
Thanks for coming,
good man. Yeah, man, for sure. Anytime.
All right.
Give me a call, Hall.
Cool. Bridges to the world, man. Yeah, I love that. Well,
yeah. That was very entertaining, man.
Well, I missed a lot, but I could see that you guys were having fun for the time I came here. And Carlos, that's the type of guy Carlos is, man. Great guy. Always have been one of the leaders of the guys who are Woodbine. A natural leader, I should say. Mm-hmm. And he will continue to do well at Woodbine for sure.
You know what I love about Carlos is that he said he loved to take them horses when he see there's something wrong with them and just improve them, you know.
But listen, we're basically in the same type of thing. You know what I mean?
Yes, you told me that. The same thing.
Yeah, I deal that as I got older now and more mature in the business. you tend to look at that side of the business, horses that have problems, and it's something that most horses have problems, and most people don't manage them properly.
Hmm.
And you know, it comes in, it's natural to me now to just go and pinpoint problems right away. You know what I mean? You touch the acupuncture points, and you see where they're hurting, and then you deal with it. Unless the only thing it would become a real problem if a horse has a chip in the knee or the ankle or any other where somewhere fractured. But if it's just those type of problems where it's a muscular problem or things are out of place, you know what I mean? You get to deal with those things. And Carlos has been doing that for years now with um, the guy he always takes his horses to. It's a known thing at Woodbine. I mean, this guy has been doing it for years for a lot of Woodbine trainers. And not everybody know about him, but the ones who know about him, they live by him.
Sounds like a very good horseman, man. Like all
Mhm,
around, like
mhm.
every angle, and now like even more, he's touching about the business side.
Of course.
Don't
And
get
that,
don't get thrown off because of whatever. But
you
he
know,
seems like he's very well versed.
that's the beauty about a lot of our guys who left Barbados as wanting wanting to be good. You know what I mean? I don't think any Barbados, we might fool ourselves and say we're good. I think we have potential to be good. And when you get into that environment in North America, you you just go to a different level because you're exposed to so much more. And Carlos is one of those guys who have been exposed and grabbed the opportunity on both hands. He was very fortunate too to be with one of the older great trainers. He
Hmm.
gave them, you know what I mean? When you get to rub shoulders with those guys, those old school guys, they teach you a lot, man. They teach you a lot. And
It's
he's
so
one of
true,
the
man.
fortunate Barbadians who have been able to be close to a guy like that, and it's working for him right now.
Yeah, it's wonderful, man. It sounds like earlier, Carlos is like the hustling, knowing that he always wanted to, he knew what he wanted. When he get out of Barbados, when he get to Canada, he was not going back. He gotta do what he gotta do. He got
But
big
don't forget,
dreams.
don't forget, Derek, that was his second time going back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So most of the time, you learn from your first experience, and you would say that, listen, I came here, I had to go back home, and I ain't really like having to go back because for myself coming back to Barbados, you see it. Most of
Hmm.
those guys, you go back to a dead end job as a groom. There's no really sense of upliftment. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And that's why I always say, oh, any of our good guys shouldn't spend too long in Barbados because they worth so much more money outside of Barbados. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I think we should learn our trade here, but when we want to make our money, we gotta go outside. You know what I mean?
It's
But
very
I'm also
important.
realizing too that we need some more good guys to come back. You know what I mean? You need some more good guys to come back. And fortunate for me now, there's a guy like Darren Clark who he's interested in sending some of his money our way. You know what I mean? And as I said, money because you need money to do good things. You know what I mean? Most people want to spend the money overseas, but you got a few Barbadians who are interested in investing here, and you still got to think about the future. And you still need good guys here to guide that future in the right direction. So right now, Carlos, those guys are doing great overseas, and we got guys like Darryl Clark coming back here now to. And most of the time, when you get older, most people always think about coming back home.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Nobody don't think about getting old in a cold country. Everybody want. Everybody,
You don't think about it; it just happens.
you know what I mean? But everybody would rather be. You know what? You know what I learned, Derek? Or when I go to the beach one morning, and a lot of those tourists who come and speak to you and say you got the best job in the world. You know what I mean? Because you could come and do this every day.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
It makes you think. You know what I mean? If these people here are telling me they got the best job in the world, I was one of those guys. You know, I worked in North America for many years, and I take look at myself and said, you know, this is kind of nice though. You know, I mean, what I'm doing, coming to the beach, because in North America, there's a hustle, there's a bustle, there's a, you know,
Constant
yeah.
grind, man.
And if you could do it here in Barbados and with no stress and that kind of stuff, it's okay. But you have to have money to do it, though. You need to, you know what I mean? We always got to remember guys like Bill Marshall, those guys came here from England, and Scobie Brisley, those guys, and they really enjoyed it here in Barbados. But you can't do it without money backing you, keeping you afloat, you know. So I really love the fact that Carlos and those guys are up there kind of looking at that end of the Barbadian side of guiding a lot of youngsters up there, because I know he's one of the leaders at the racetrack where he, you know what I mean, any trouble arises, the youngsters go to Carlos, and you can see why.
Exactly.
Good
A lot of knowledge, a lot of
Yes.
experience.
Yes.
And, if they want to know something and they want the truth,
Yes.
I guess from hearing what Carlos said, he put them straight. You know, and no beating
Yeah,
around the bush.
yeah.
You're gonna get it. You're gonna get it full, straight out.
No, he's a good guy, man. Always from the Barbados, everybody knew Carlos. You know, always I wanted with Carlos. He always put himself with the right people. You know what I mean? That's when you know a guy is good. You never
Good
see him in the
instincts.
wrong crowd. He always keep himself in a good crowd of people, man. From the
Yeah,
Barbados,
that's
always
great.
great. I mean, he was one of the guys that he took an owner from Barbados that's had a horse with Jake Nemeth. You understand? I don't know if he talked about that, but that was one of the things that he did early in the early days. You know.
But he talked about when he got his first horse. I think Carl Williams. He was like 12 years old and say, hey, take this horse and groom it, or 12 years old.
Yeah, but he had a guy who was working for him here in Barbados also. I can't remember his name right now. But they took a horse. His name was Russian Tsar or something like that. And he
Okay.
came from Barbados. He was one of the first horses. But I think Incitatus might have been the first horse that came from Barbados that won. I think that. No, this horse was Nazar. I'm sure he was before Incitatus. But I can't remember the name of the guy. I can see him now. I saw him the other day. My name was in St. John. I didn't know he lived in St. John. And they took this horse and Jake Nemeth traded him. I remember I think he won for either 25 or 30,000. So it was a good thing for a horse that left Barbados racing, and he actually won at Woodbine. So,
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I mean, and it was all because of Carlos' connection. You understand what I mean? Carlos' connection. That was done because of that. So he's been doing good things for many years now, man. Many years.
Yes.
I mean, and what I hope this show does also is bring awareness to the Barbadians who are doing great things up there. So you can start hearing a lot of different names calling. You know what I mean? We always tend to look at the top. We never look at the middle and the lower ends. You know what I mean? Everybody know about Patrick Husbands, but there's a lot of guys, a lot of Barbadian guys that are making a name for themselves, doing great stuff. And
Well, I'm hoping that we get to hear this story. You know.
yeah, man, we can try to talk to as many people as we can. I mean, here I'm getting grumbling already from certain sections of the Barbadian society that I'm only talking to people who I know or like or whatever. But we're gonna do this show is only a month old, man. We can't do everything in a month. You know.
Well, you know that will happen. You know, it'll be a tug of war, tug of war. You know, because people all over the place, and that's gonna happen, right? So hopefully we get to speak to all of them and get to hear these stories, because there's a bunch of wonderful stories out there, a bunch of good people, good horsemen, and women, Sean.
Yeah, no, we can get the ladies. We talk to some ladies, but time will tell. Time will tell. But the ladies will come eventually.
But you know what they always say: if you put the girls in the party, the men will come.
Yeah. Very much so.
Oh
Unfortunately,
man.
we don't have any Barbadian ladies as such, but I mean, we know a few other ladies out there. We get on the show, and we we'll get there, man. We're new. People seem to like what we're doing, and we just gonna continue to do that.
Yeah, I think it's wonderful. Yeah, judging from what I'm seeing so far, I like what I'm seeing, and I think the people like what they're seeing. So, let's go from there, man. Make it happen, and let's continue doing what we're doing. Is there anything else you want to talk about before anything you want to touch on? Oh,
Man,
before you touch on anything, I want to wish my auntie a happy belated birthday on air. Her birthday was yesterday. She turned 72.
wow,
And I want to say I wish her, many, 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 many more. You know what I mean? My grandmother was the day in front of that. So she was the 16th. My grandmother was the 15th, and she would have been 107 years old, but
wow,
she's no longer with us. But she's gone.
wow.
That's what it is.
All right, well, happy birthday to her also, man. That's great.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I came out. I kind of walk out the gates today, but I'm not a young man. I'm not a young man. I'm doing a lot now, and I gotta be careful. You know what I mean?
I said, no, don't expose too much because I don't know what you're getting at. Well,
It's just work, man. Just work. That's all you can do now.
Okay.
Just work, man. Sometimes, as you know, we've taken on a lot more horses now, longer hours,
Hmm.
and the body sometimes just does not. When it gets chance to rest,
You
that's
gotta
it,
rest.
man. That's it. But I'm here. I made it. Better late than never. And
I'm glad you made it.
yes, so you
Not the
had everything
same
under
without you.
control. No, but you had everything under control, which is great.
You think so? It's just illusion.
No, 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 no. It was great, man. And I'm very happy that because these guys. Listen, a guy like Carlos is a talker, man. And Carlos, you just gotta put him on and you just listen.
I like the fact that everybody thinks that Leroy is the bar to pass. Everybody's like, we go past Leroy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, but listen, all our guys. I mean, that we have a bunch of good guys. I mean, all of them have good stories to tell. They're the guys that they're the good types of people we bring on the show that have really done it out there already, continue to do it, and we're gonna find these guys and bring them on, guys and ladies, bring them on every week when we can, man.
That's right. Well, on that note, I guess we want to say thank everyone for watching. Don't forget to, if you want to watch the show all over again, you can go back and watch it on YouTube and just click on it and enjoy all Carlos's jokes. Sean, your last words before we go, man.
All I can say is good night to everybody. Hope you have a good night and we'll meet again next week, same time. New
All
guests.
right, all right, we out, man.
All right.